guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to episode 13 of the How To Relationship Podcast. I'm going to pass my phone around, okay? I'm going to pass my phone around. I want you all to look at the picture on my phone. Don't say anything. Don't make any expressions. John, we're going to start with John. We're going to come all the way around. We're going to come all the way around to Chris, and then we'll have a discussion about what you see on the phone.
I'm scared.
I don't know if you hear that police order.
Dun, dun, dun. What am I going to see? We said don't react. I'm like, I said I can't control my face.
Here we go, guys.
Take
Take a look and pass it down.
No expression.
Looks like it's hard for y'all to keep y'all's expressions to yourselves. He want to say something.
Do you know who that guy is?
No.
I know you know. What about you?
I don't.
That's okay. You, Chris?
Okay.
You do. Okay.
Probably dress.
Well, I figured though, like, cause with his career.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Kind of the same thing. Kind of the same thing. Your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Kevin Samuels?
I think he was a great guy. I think he did. He spoke for a lot of men that felt like they were not being spoken for.
Right.
And he made a lot of points that I think a lot of men held inside because they couldn't say it in public without being hurt, or shamed, or anything like that. So
Sign language.
that's another thing I'll say is from his death that a lot of, I think, black men, we could all learn is paying attention to your health.
That's all right.
And because it came out of nowhere, and he was such a great voice and was rising so quickly, and for the head to be cut off the snake in that way
They still switching cameras, Steph?
was very, very quick, very sudden, and it was just, he was a guy who had so much money that it wouldn't have been an issue for him, even if he needed surgery or anything like that. So I just say, everybody pay attention to your health. You never know, right? But what I was saying is, but my overall point is,
He wasn't going to go to the hospital.
he had somebody there with him. And I think a lot of us black men, too, we just be on our own. We just chilling.
Yeah.
So pay attention to your health. That's all I'm saying.
I want to piggyback off what he says. A lot of black men do not get physicals yearly. Yes. And it's to the point where a lot of those black men, and black women too, but a lot of black men per se, don't really go to the doctors. No. They don't get checked up. They don't really find out what the issue is until it's too late.
That's all right.
So that's something that is in the black community really strong, that we have to really pay more attention to our health. Like, cancer runs really high in my family genetically. So that means for me, knowing that history, I have to be consistent with checkups and things like that. So catching it early, if it were to occur, would be more beneficial to me rather than waiting till too late. But to your question, what you were asking about Kevin Samuels, as a woman, I know a lot of women were offended by a lot of things that he said. A lot of black women were offended by a lot of things that he said. But I honestly was all for it. I was all for it. I felt like he was talking about a certain dynamic of women, and then he wasn't talking about me. So therefore, I didn't take offense to anything he said. I feel like a lot of people who did take offense to what he said, or like a lot of the women that he did speak to on camera or, on his podcast, I feel like a lot of those women were taking offense, but they weren't even in the category of the women he were talking about. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the men that Kevin Samuels was talking about was a certain caliber of men. He wasn't talking about all men want this, all men want that. He was talking about a certain caliber, and I think a lot of people got confused with that, or wasn't paying attention too much to what he was saying, because I don't think he was really trying to offend women in general, but I think he was trying to speak up, like he said, for those 1 to 5%ers of those black men who do make that kind of money.
Yeah,
do you think that what the top percenters of men want, that you think that the rest of the men don't want that too?
I don't think that the rest of the men don't want that, but I also feel like it's very it's based on your environment. A lot of men don't want a woman who makes a lot of money. Some men want women who make all the money and they want to sit down and take a break. Like, you just
We call those bums.
Exactly. But again, so there are different kind of men. So you can't say that there's just all 1% men. You have bums out there. You have guys who want to eat off another woman. So we just can't put it all on one group of men.
The one thing I will say though is that with Kevin Samuels, he spoke to the top guys, right? And he spoke a lot of times about the average black man. And I think the bigger issue that we're looking at is he had women that were big, small, ghetto ratchet, crazy, 9 kids, and they're still asking for the top 1% man. And the white equivalent to me, the Middle Eastern equivalent to me, the Asian equivalent to me would be able to get the average woman of that race. But the below average woman of the black race that called into his show, I'm not saying all of them, the below average one was looking for the top guy. And I think that was what he spoke.
I'll tell you this, something that is universal with all races, just a couple of quick points here, is that the average woman wants an above average guy, right?
That part.
And the crux of that situation is the average woman thinks she's above average. Exactly. No woman is ever going to say, do you think you're an above average woman?
No.
Well, what are they going to do? Say no? No. Right. But the market decides, what your average is, above average, below average. Something else to note, and I say this all the time on my podcast, is that most men are sexually invisible to most women. So when we're talking about preferences, how can I put this delicately? Most men just
You've established that.
Okay, don't start now.
Get to the point. Be real. Get to the point.
most women wouldn't fuck most men, while most men would fuck most women.
There you go.
And in this day and age, the only men that women really see in their purview are the men they want to fuck. So when you ask questions, and we'll ask it later on, who cheats more, men or women? You're thinking about it. We're thinking about it from the scope of all of the men. But what you don't realize is you're thinking of only the top 10% of men. Why? Because 90% of men are sexually invisible to you, whether you realize it or not. Right. You, Kevin Samuels, you didn't know who he was, but
now you know.
So I take it that he made some comments about the below average women expecting the creme of the crop of the men. To be honest with you, I think a lot of people aren't really, I don't know if it's an accountability issue or like a personal knowledge issue, but I think a lot of people just aren't really in tune with themselves and how they're perceived by others. Or maybe it's just because we live in our own world.
Definitely.
So maybe people, their perception is just off, or they don't match up with most people's perceptions in general. So I think that's an issue to be like a foundational issue that it stems from. Like some people are just out of touch with what they offer, their strengths, their esteem, their confidence. Right.
And I just want to add to that, if you actually could become aware of how you come off sometimes, or actually took accountability sometimes, it is a game changer. It is so much easier to work on yourself instead of just denying I'm not this person and feeling attacked anytime somebody wants to call you out on it. Yeah. I learned that the hard way, and I'm happy I did.
Yeah. Self-awareness is a big thing.
Huge thing.
I'll tell you what, on 946 episodes in, I am more self-aware than I've ever been in my life, because
Guaranteed
I'm on camera. I'm on camera all the time. Every flaw is right there, for all the world to see. So I'd like to think that I'm not in the dark about my value as a man.
Hey, so going back to, I think you said that speaking about women wanting a certain caliber of man, I think that's most women. They believe that they deserve a man of certain caliber, which unfortunately I don't agree with. And going back to what you said, Donovan, I really believe that men have sex when they can and women have sex when they want.
Yep.
A Bumble match just told me that the other day.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have heard it in other places before.
I heard it first from Amber Rose.
Any one of you ladies are able to walk out and find a man that would be happy to give you attention. But not saying you, but most women don't want that. They want a certain caliber of man. And working in nightclubs, I see it all the time. And women will do whatever they can to get the attention of the caliber man, but they won't do whatever they can to keep that attention.
That part.
And Kevin Samuels, and obviously, shocker, I'm not black, but he spoke. No. He listened. He spoke for the men that were too scared to speak up to these women, like me. I'm gonna speak for most guys that are probably listening to your podcast.
Yep.
I'm here to represent the young men or older men that are striving to become better.
Right.
I'm not where I want to be in life, but I'm working on it.
Good.
And I'm man enough and proud enough to admit that. And Kevin Samuels, along with other of these influencers, but we're going to speak about Kevin Samuels only. He spoke up for men all over the world. He gave men a voice. He gave them the confidence that they needed, and he opened up a lot of women's eyes to the cold hard reality that you're not as special as you think you are.
Tell them.
And you keep doing what you're doing and keep going down that road, you're going to die alone.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be very, very unhappy when your money can't keep you alive when you get to that certain age and you have no family around you, no friends, nothing like that.
And can't afford a 9-volt battery to put in those goddamn smoke detectors that every single one of them tends to have. I swear to God. Before you go ahead, you got something?
I was on top of your point. What I was saying is that a lot of men learn from Kevin Samuels as well. A lot of black men, because a lot of us, we just go through life learning what we learned from our mama and just chilling, and we don't even realize the expectation that is needed from us, from them. So even though they have like super crazy expectations and stuff like that, we don't even know that. We just like, hey, I got a decent job and I'm chilling. I ain't got to work out. Shit, I can buy lemon pepper wings for everybody. So, so I think that no, I'm serious. I think that he opened the eyes to a lot of us men and what we need to do in the black community. So.
Though I hadn't really ever gotten too deep into what he was saying, and because like Kayla said, I wasn't really offended by it because I wasn't necessarily in the caliber of women he was speaking of. So I was just able to take it for what it was and for what he was saying. So it didn't really faze me much, but I will say that I agree with him as far as the below average woman wanting, a certain caliber of man but I also feel like men, though they are more willing to have sex with whatever kind of woman they can find, I still feel like they also have an expectation, like they should have a woman that's out of their league. So I
Agreed.
feel like
Out of their league. I don't believe any woman is ever out of a man's league. I don't care who. I don't care who you are. Who disagrees? Why do you disagree?
Highly disagree.
I disagree about that because I mean, if we're talking about what a man wants, you know what I'm saying? A man's not looking for a woman to come and pay all their bills. You know what I'm saying?
Some are.
So, some are.
Don't fuck with those dudes.
Some are, but a lot of men aren't looking for that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men want that dominance of I pay the bills, I take care of that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying as far as like, I don't feel like a man is not looking for a woman who's not out their league, and maybe not out the league. Out the league might be a little bit too far to say, like, if it's you and then
let's just say like
Mike.
I mean, if it's you and then Halle Berry comes in the room or something, like, I'm not saying that she's out your league, but I'm just saying I'm not saying she's out your league. I'm just saying it's Halle Berry.
She would give you a chance, John. She would.
She's an A-lister. Whatever we talking about.
One mic at a time. Number one, you said Halle Berry. Halle Berry is old.
Old, but
She is old. No.
Prime time Halle Berry.
No.
Let's say 25-year-old Halle Berry. She looks good, right?
Black don't crack.
Great.
You're right, but she's old.
And J-Lo looks
she's
great.
old and she's fucking crazy, and so is J-Lo.
How you know she crazy?
J-Lo's nuts.
She crazy.
Halle Berry's been married 17 times.
But does that mean that she's not a prize? So because she's been married 17, are we just blaming that on Halle Berry that she's married 17?
To the men that she wants.
Hold on. Hey, one mic at a time. That's a very good question. But if you've been married that many times and divorced, at some point you have to think.
Look at the mirror.
Hold on. Sometimes I'm the common denominator. Listen, man.
True.
As far as me being self-aware, all of the relationships that I've been in that have, because most of us fail in most relationships.
Right.
The only successful relationship is the one you're in, right?
Right.
That's just how it goes.
Right.
But I was either too fat, I wasn't motivated, I was cheating. I mean, I was self-aware enough to say, okay, if I want to change my life relationship wise, then I need to stop doing these things. Halle Berry doesn't think she has to change anything. She's still living off of the 25-year-old self. That's why and to be honest with you, I think most men walking the face of the earth are out of her league, because the most average rank and file men offer to the world much more than Halle Berry ever will.
I can understand that.
I can see that.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can understand that. But there are women who are not Halle Berrys who do offer a lot to the world, who do provide substance to the world. So that's why I'm saying, like, if it's not I don't feel like men may not want to look for it, but there are women who can survive on their own. They don't need a man. They don't, you know what I'm saying? But when they do have that man, they'll provide that man with everything. So I feel like that's not fair. I didn't say I don't think women need men. I think men need women.
Okay.
I think why would there be men and women on the earth?
Of course, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because we need each other.
Yeah, men and women are better together.
I'm about to say there's no such thing. Why would there be two steps? You know what I'm saying? Like that makes no sense. So we all obviously need. You obviously need a woman. We obviously need men. There's no such thing as as
Who
women.
else disagreed with the out of the league thing? You, Gayla? Did you disagree? Or no, it was you. I'm sorry.
I do.
Sorry. Okay.
I don't even know what to say about it, to be honest, after that. I mean, I think Halle Berry is a different kind of example. I just think, and I'm sorry to even say this, if it's going to come off and offend people, I don't care. But
it's fine.
If it were, let's say, and we deal with a lot of this in wrestling, like a fat video gamer that doesn't do anything, that sits on his couch all day, versus me getting up and going to work every day and working on my body and myself and that kind of thing. That's where I think there is kind of a difference, where I'm not going to put effort into somebody that does not put any effort into themselves. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
And it's vice versa all the time.
I agree with the physical aspect.
Doesn't mean
definitely
physical, like she said.
Not just physical, but clearly they're
mental, physical, spiritual, all that. So
Because
but
it can be vice
they're
versa.
happy with what they're doing and their life and how they go about things, and it's they don't want to try to get better, really. And I can't speak for all of them. Some do, but that's somebody that I would not give a second look at until
out of his league, basically, right?
I would like to think.
I just think a league, the term league is more like you're playing games, and it's more of like the league is more of the realm of your spiritual development with yourself. Whereas you can be out of someone's league because, as you said and everyone else has said, like, you've taken the steps to be accountable to yourself, you've worked on yourself, then I would say you are out of someone's league who refuses to take a look in the spiritual mirror.
Yeah.
We're talking about the sexual, like, I mean, I guess there could be something to what you're saying. I'm talking about sexual market value, though. I'm not, I mean, seriously, the first thing we notice about people is the way they look. We're men. Yeah. That's the first thing I notice about a woman is the way she looks.
We women too.
I either want to bang her or I don't. That's the way we think. And I think women think this way. I think women think this way to a degree. But there's a little more that goes into it. Men, it's lust at first sight. Women, it can be lust at first sight, but if a guy doesn't really fit your physical criteria in terms of what turns you on, then maybe he's funny, maybe he's gregarious, maybe he's outgoing. Because I've dated many women who said, you know what, you're not usually my type. Translation, I've never dated a black dude before, but your winning personality and your charm won me over, right? So you can be unattractive as a man and still be able to attract attractive women. True. It just takes very much true. It takes a lot of effort, but that's
Pete Davidson.
That's very much true. Yeah, exactly. What happened there? I was like, whoa.
He's funny.
Pre-selection.
I was, whoa, yeah.
Pete Davidson.
Chris approved.
Listen, Pete Davidson and Steve Buscemi and Jay-Z are three of the ugliest men on the face of the earth.
Not Beyonce said he looked beautiful. I said, beautiful B. I wouldn't say beautiful now.
Status can make somebody attractive. Confidence can.
Very much.
Every relationship that I've been in has not been a love at first sight. It's not been off an app. It's not been anything. It's somebody that I got to know over a certain period of time that I wasn't attracted to. And eventually I started to think, I kind of like this guy. I got feelings for him. It happened all three times. Yep.
How many times have you guys seen a hot guy who was just not confident, or as soon as he opened his mouth and
He sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
they're
God.
stupid.
All the time.
though.
They be so cute and they be
So
start talking. As
attractive.
soon as
When
they
am I
open
gonna
their
talk?
mouth, you be like, oh no. This is a
Right?
no for me.
It's a no for me, dog.
Just having women throw themselves, or
At
they
their
can
looks.
score quick, whatever it is. But it amazes me sometimes.
How
I
stupid.
agreed to potentially go outside my comfort zone and agreed to, maybe talk to somebody about strictly sexual stuff. And we started a conversation.
was
and
this person of a darker skin hue?
No, I have dated a black guy though.
Oh.
Hey, right.
He was a
Hey.
wrestler. So
This is fascinating. Every podcast I do in a group, there's always one element that creeps in you don't expect. I did not expect wrestling. This is incredible. This is incredible. I
technically
love
four
it.
in the room. Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I did. But even that, actually, I mean, that's a long story for me, and it kind of, I hate to say, because of the way that I unfortunately was raised, it took me a while to kind of come to terms with it. And I used to think at first, like, I don't think I like this guy. I'm just something, I'll get over it. I'll get past it. But after a while, I was like, no, I like this guy. I don't think there's a problem with it. And the backlash from my family, from everybody, was just way more than I could bear. Like,
Okay.
I really felt what it was like to be, like, racist, basically. That's what they were being. So
That seamlessly segues into our main topic, interracial dating.
Ooh.
And we're not going to talk about interracial dating between black women and white guys, because those are the
Easy.
gross outliers. We talk about interracial relationships between niggas and white girls. That's what it is. So,
Ooh, okay, I'm for this.
I'm going to start here. Do interracial relationships between black men and white women, does it harm women in the black community? Does it harm black women? What does it do to harm black women, if anything?
I don't actually think it harms black women at all. I think interracial dating's cool. I think in a weird sense, sometimes there can be jealousy on that end, because a lot of times
Just a
it's
little.
a lot of it, whatever. But there can be jealousy on that end because it's a lot of times successful black men or educated black men or whatever. But I think interracial dating all around is totally cool.
Okay. Yes,
You don't want to
sir.
say.
Yo, I'm waiting on her to do this. Hold my earrings. So, interracial dating between black men and white women, does it harm black women?
I don't even know how to answer this question.
try.
I want to say, it doesn't harm black women directly, but
Huh, that's interesting.
I have a black uncle. He's married to a white woman. My other black uncle had kids with white women. So I have nothing against the interracial part of it. I think what my problem comes in is when a black man says, I'll never date a black woman. That's when it becomes effective to a black woman, because how can you dare say you will never date a black woman when you were born from a black woman?
Let me answer that. Hold on. I will never date a black woman.
So why? I want to know. I really want to know.
And I am absolutely positively telling you, I will never, ever, ever date another black woman. Now, here's the deal. How can I say I'll never date another black woman because I came out of a black woman? I'm not trying to fuck my mom. You understand?
I get that. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I get that, but I'm saying you're black. So where does that come from? Like what trauma did you have that caused you to say I would never date a black woman in my life?
It wasn't really trauma. It was just, repeated experiences with certain types of with black women. That's really all there is to it.
Stereotypes.
And I know this is probably hard for you guys to believe it or not. I was actually picked on in school because of the way I talked. A lot of people, and it's funny, even here in Atlanta, when downstairs at the front desk, I'm going up, Donovan Sharpe, I'm well spoken, and he's an obviously gay black man. He's looking at me like, ooh, I'm like, are you kidding me? It is.
I know you're talking about.
And I'm like, and I remember when we had first moved to Philly, I had to return some chairs, and the other guy, the guy that I had to return them to, he was black, obviously gay. He's like, so I'm like, tell him about the chairs and start. This is actually right at the beginning of TSR Live. Right at the beginning of TSR Live, I'm switching out the chairs and telling him about the podcast. He's like, oh, okay, can I have your idea? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, happy belated. And I'm like, thank you. And I'm trying to avert my gaze. I appreciate that. Right. But yeah, there's always an assumption, and a lot of people said that about Kevin too. It's something about, and we'll go around the room. But something about the degeneracy of the black community, it always alienates its best and brightest. But I mean, I had all my black friends were in band, and we were all geeks anyway, so it didn't really matter then. Yeah, you know how that goes. Yeah, right. But I was kind of a stud because I played baseball too, so I was halfway gig. Yeah. Like they'd go to stuff me in the locker. Nah, you're good. You're good. We're gonna let you go. You went 3 for 5 last night. Yeah. You had 6 RBIs yesterday. But yeah, and I think that might, to be honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it, that might be the trauma. The trauma probably comes from the way the black community has treated me. And it's interesting, when I started doing my podcast regularly, there was another guy who reached out to me that I started doing podcasts with. And he also had a website. And he calls me up. He's like, hey, man, I think you're talented, blah, 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 blah. And I was hesitant at first because I said, you know what? This didn't really go quite so well in middle school or high school. And keep in mind, I went to 4 high schools, guys, in Durham, North Carolina. My dad was in the military. My mom and dad got divorced because she was fucking some crackhead-ass nigga up in Detroit. I'll probably never forgive her for that. Sorry, Mom. More trauma. But it did not matter. From sea to shining sea, anytime there's a smart, well-spoken, intelligent black guy, you're looked at as corny, or dare I say gay.
And that makes sense. So that's why I needed to know, because I'm like, that's not the first time, because when I've asked my uncle the same thing, mind you, he's had kids with a white woman. He's even brought in, what I'm saying? So I understand. And his experience was a traumatic experience with a black woman. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? My little brother, he's even telling, I'm only dating white women. What's your trauma behind it? Because again, we all have trauma. We're all living people. We all have trauma. You know what I'm saying? It's black women out here like, I ain't never dating a black man again in my life because they some bump. You know what I'm saying? So we all have trauma. But that's why it's like, where is that coming from? Because you can't say, I'll never date a black woman. And it's like, for why? Why do you not want to date black women?
Yeah, I know why.
It's not just like, oh, black women ugly. You can't say, what's the reasoning? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What's the trauma behind it, Yeah,
not only that, the attitude problem, right? Overweight. What is it? 80% of black women are overweight. You guys are you are the gross. I mean, how many women your age do you know look like you two? You feel me? Exactly. And I'm telling you what, man, check this out. Check this out. I'm making the high 6 figures, man. I drive a ridiculous car. I live an awesome life. I'm not trying to fuck no fat chicks, man. That's just
I'm not trying to either. So
I can't be seen with no fatty. And because most black women are overweight, that's another reason. So, fortunately for me, I haven't had the trauma of having sex with a fat or black woman or a fat black woman. But yeah, I understand your point there. What do you think now? Now, see, this is where it's going to really get spicy when we ask the white girl. Right? Yeah. He's like, I'm a white girl. Pass it off to you.
I ain't want no parts of that. I ain't want no parts of this. I ain't want to get beat.
Can you repeat it just so I can give it?
Yeah. Do black men who date interracially, specifically with white women, does it harm black women directly or indirectly? That was a very good observation by Ace of Spades over here.
Okay, I'll say this, just in terms of interracial dating, I'll say I think a lot of, I don't want to say black men have checked out, but it's just a situation where I think a lot of, in current times, I think a lot of other races, other women from other races, cater to black traumas. That's what I say. So when you talk about just to elaborate on that, when you talk about different races, for example, other communities are more catering to a man, or catering to a man's needs or things of that nature. There are other cultures where their cultural norms cater to the men. If you look in other communities, say Latin community, things like that, I got friends and family of that nature, and when they if you look at the mom, or the grandma or whatever, they don't let a man touch anything. They say, if I'm preparing a meal, you don't lift a finger, you don't do that, you relax. And if you look at black traumas and things of that nature where, they say a black man has a hard life, and so in the midst of that life, he wants to actually be catered to when he gets home. You know, if he's dealing with the trials and tribulations of the day, when he gets home, that's where he looks for his peace. And then a man always looks for his peace from his woman. And so if you have a woman that's constantly giving him shit when he gets home, then it's like, dude, I'm not even finding no peace. But if you find other cultures whose cultural norms are to cater to a man when he gets home, then quite naturally he's going to gravitate toward those a little bit more, just because of the fact that it's not nothing for her to cater to her man. That's what she wants to do, you know, and to him, he wants to receive that. Right. So in the midst of that, yeah, so
That's very much true. Yeah. I agree.
You know, yeah, go ahead, because I'm actually gonna come to you, but I'm gonna divert and split the question with you because I think that this is gonna be really good. Go ahead.
And
that's the way my mind works, guys. I'm sorry. That's me thinking out loud there.
this is a terrible truth, and
Niggas
I know
ain't
this
shit.
for sure. I have heard a lot of African American women complain about black men with overweight white women, and the reason,
Really, nigga?
and I will tell you this, I will tell you this.
I swear to God.
The reason why that happens is
Oh,
the
meme.
the black equivalent of that, the
You're wrong for
the
that.
300-pound black woman wants Idris Elba and will treat even an average black dude like crap. But the overweight white woman knows where she stands because white guys won't take that. And so so the overweight white woman is like, man, I got a nigga that's in shape. And he got a big ding ding.
Hey,
She will
if I was a fat white girl, I'd date niggas too.
she'll pick him up at the bus stop, drive him to Popeyes, cook him dinner,
Cutting that out.
do all the things in the bedroom, have all his shows DVR'd, have Maker's Mark. I'm telling you, that's what it
life.
is.
I'm not gonna
Maker's
lie.
Mark.
That sounds like a life. I want that life. Can I come?
That's what I'm saying. That's why when you see a broke nigga with a whole bunch of tattoos sitting there with a wedding photo with a 400-pound white woman,
That's what
it's because she treat him like a king.
No, I agree. No, I agree.
Let me come to Chelsea. We're gonna go Chelsea and then we're gonna go Gayla. So in the black community, you mentioned the word submissive or serve to the average black woman. Like it's funny when you actually say this to a black woman, a funny thing starts to happen. Like her skin breaks out in hives,
Oils and
all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like she got the West Nile virus or COVID-24 or whatever. Now, you're speaking as a white woman in the quote unquote white community. Where does the white community stand on how women should treat their men? Because we all know about the scourge of feminism and girl power and this and that and the other. Sometimes there are white girls out there that say, I don't want to be submissive because I don't want to, release my power. What are your thoughts?
I believe Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. So I am not a traditional feminist in that way. I do believe everyone has equal rights. I think a lot of it is a movement. From my personal experience, are you talking about just catering to men in general, like in their? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Like in your culture, your upbringing, what's the standard upbringing?
Well, recipe book. So my was very like cooking, cleaning, not like you're tied to a submissive domestic role. It's more so that's like one of your love languages,
okay,
kind of a thing. So I will say, as a woman in my family, my little brother was treated differently than my sister and I were. Like he didn't have to do as much stuff around the house.
Oh boy,
Same.
There's that male privilege for you.
It's just that kind of a thing. But as far as like for your partner or for like who I would say is my man, I wouldn't have a man and claim him if I didn't want to do things for him.
Okay. Very good.
Same.
Can I piggyback before you go to Gayla? So with her, what she was saying, because I'm engaged, and my previous relationship, I wouldn't dare give him rules over my family. Like I don't even trust you to I don't even trust you to go wash your hands, let alone make something happen.
Hold on. Was this Dirty Dick Rodney? Is that who this was?
Who?
Was it Dirty Dick Rodney?
No, not Dirty Dick Rodney. No,
okay,
no.
I was gonna say, keep it a stack
like
now.
my current relationship, my current fiance, I feel more secure. I feel more. I'm submissive to him. He say something, it's down. Like whatever you say, it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you no attitude.
Is he black?
He's black. He's black.
That nigga 6'4".
He's 6. He up there. You know what I'm saying? He up there. You know what I'm saying? He running his business. He handle business.
Oh,
but
there you
I
go.
also can trust him. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like as women, we are naturally submissive. No matter what race you are, we are naturally submissive. But who we submit to.
Yes.
That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? We're not just going to submit to anybody come through the door like, oh, well, I'm bringing some dick. So what's up?
Hold up now. What's wrong with Jamario?
Do Jamario got a job? Is Jamario taking care of bills? Is Jamario just playing a game all day? That's what we need to know.
Hold up. You see, Jamario is between jobs right now, and he's an entrepreneur. He's got $1 million business idea. You still going bang?
Well, if he making something happen, we can work with that. I can work with that. But now, if you just sitting there and you twiddling your thumbs, like I got a business idea, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Then we might have an issue. But if we making some efforts to go for something, I don't really care where you're at in your life. We can make it happen.
Let me add to this before I get to Gayla. Jamario lives with his mom. You still gonna give him a chance?
How long is Jamario staying with his mom? How long he been with his mom? Did he just go over there?
Does he look like Chris Brown?
Hold up.
Information.
She's asking good questions.
I need more information behind
She's
this
asking good
story.
questions,
Like
Jamario's lived with his mom for 6 months. Okay.
he got evicted.
And his baby mama put him out of the house.
Ooh, that sounds like real drama right there. I don't know.
His
That sound
second
like
baby mama put him out of the house. You gonna give Jamario a play now?
I don't know. Me and Jamario gonna have to have a talk before we even can go any further first, okay? I don't even know if me and Jamario in a relationship yet, okay? We gotta talk.
Wow.
We gotta talk,
Situation,
Jamario.
an entanglement,
They
maybe?
got too much. I don't even have that much. If I don't have that much baggage, why do I want to take on your extra?
But would you say that?
Very good.
Would you say that a woman's submission is conditional though? Because like if Jamario lives with his mom's, but he's 6 foot tall, got a big
Mine's
dick
not
and all of that, y'all
conditional.
still
I
gonna
can't
fuck with
say
him.
for every woman, mine's not conditional. If my man lost his job tomorrow, I will hold it down until we figure it out because I know he will figure it out.
But is that the majority?
That's what I'm saying. I can't speak for every woman. That's why I said I can't speak for
I'll
every
put it to you
woman.
this way. I'll put it to you this way, and we'll get to
yeah,
Gayla here in a second. If you've been with your man long enough and he loses his job, most women aren't just gonna jump ship, right? They're going and listen, they'll give you time to blow off some steam, lick your wounds, tie a few off, get yourself together. And she will hold it down, but there is a time limit. She is not going to do that forever. If she does not see that you have the requisite drive and desire to go out and get back what you lost, then she's going to be up out of there. Just like you said, look, I'll hold it down for my man because I know he can go out and do it again.
For sure.
Jamario can't do that.
Well, Jamario's not going to last.
Definitely not going to last.
I agree.
Gayla, do you think that interracial dating between black men and white women harm black women directly or indirectly?
Okay, so
Oh, those are cool kicks, man.
I've been looking at them.
Those are cool as hell. Those are cool.
So I pretty much feel like I don't
Inside joke, guys. Inside joke.
I don't feel like it harms black women directly. I feel more so I have an issue with the perceptions, like how you explained your trauma. I get that 100%. I have an issue with black men generalizing characteristics of black women and making it seem like all of them.
Angry, attitude, bitter.
Right.
Exactly.
And then also I want to continue that conversation with saying, just like black men have trauma, black women also have trauma.
Exactly.
And so the same way that you said that, the submission thing, right? Yep, I totally get black men wanting to come home from work and be consoled and this, that, and the other. You also don't know what that black woman went through that day. I'm treated differently based on if I have straight hair, natural hair.
Facts.
Dark
skin.
Differently. Okay, so at the same time, we also need that. So I think it's a different balance in a black relationship. I feel like we have to support one another more. And I will also say for me, my submissiveness is a little conditional. I feel like if you are handling business, that makes me want to be submissive. That makes me like, oh,
Same.
okay, let me go ahead
And let me
It's
add
a
to this.
But the
partnership.
average Indian, Asian, white guy doesn't have to be that. He does not have to be.
Let me make. Hold on.
Ha.
Let me.
Different
Hold on.
conditions that
hold on.
those
White men do.
Let me make a
Exactly.
distinction here. submission has got to be conditional,
Right.
right? You can't just submit to anybody.
Exactly.
What I think what needs to be said is femininity should not be conditional.
That right.
Oh,
That
yeah,
part.
yeah,
A
there
lot
you
of
go.
women are just bitches for the sake of being bitches.
Right.
And so a lot of women have like this bitchy attitude problem, but then swear up and down on the Fresh and Fit podcast, I'm submissive to my man, because if I'm not, I'm gonna whoop his ass. Whoa, wait, what?
You gonna submit and whoop his ass at the same time?
Yeah, conditional femininity and conditional submission, two very different things.
And
Yes.
can I also say that? Let me just point out what you just said about being angry about having a bitchy attitude, because guess what? A lot of our past generations, that's how they handled things. That's how we saw reactions of, I can't really explain it, but
I understand where you're
and that
going.
does not mean to not take accountability for it
Sure.
in any fashion or form.
Right.
I feel like we have to realize, hey, this is something that comes from a traumatic past, and we cannot continue to move forward as a community handling situations like this. We have to handle it better. We have to have more patience with one another and support one another through these things.
But to piggyback off what she just said, when it comes to women, like black women especially, I personally feel like, because I've been in jobs, not even relationships, I've been in jobs where I can just say the smallest thing with no attitude, and it comes off, I am the aggressive black woman.
Right.
So as women, it already, no matter what we say, it's already coming off. You're mad. You have
Here's
an
another,
attitude.
listen,
Like, what?
before we go to Zoe, here's another comparison. And I don't know how close you guys follow sports, but the media treats black athletes different than they treat white athletes.
Yes. Sure.
Phillip Rivers, for example, he's a very fiery guy, passionate guy, and they say Phillip Rivers is a fiery, passionate guy. He's a leader. He gets in Tom Brady gets in people's faces, but let Cam Newton get in somebody's face, let him start to get fired up, and all of a sudden he's a malcontent. He's a cancer in the locker room. So perception, the perception is definitely there. Zoe.
Before we
sorry.
move on, no, I just want to end up what I
go
said, going back to your original question. So my issue with that is making those generalizations and then using that to be a cop-out. Because I get it, but also, can we work on it within the community? To progress and become better? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're better.
We're going to end on that's going to be the last question, actually. So that'll be very good. I don't use it as
I get what you're saying,
Okay,
but in certain
Some people
they use
do,
it as a
but I mean,
cop-out and
there are just
completely
some.
leave the black community alone. Like,
Right.
no, we still need you.
The black man I dated said he would never date another black chick.
Did he give you a reason why?
This is gonna be so stupid. No. I guess in middle school he dated like one in 8th grade that was just so loud and obnoxious and ridiculous. At a football game, I don't know, and that's kind of just how he went about it. I didn't ask questions, but that's what he said.
It wasn't even a high school love. It was 8th grade.
I know.
She's like, I don't know what happened. I made him dinner. I turned on his favorite game, and then he was like, I want to stay with you.
You probably know
I'm just
him.
kidding. I'm totally kidding. But
That's.
I know you probably know him.
In 8th grade, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let me ask Caitlin Gala a question. Have you ever dated a white guy?
No.
Oh.
Actually, I'm not.
Just kidding.
And I don't think, and honestly, it's not because of me. Because I've seen some white guys. I'm like, okay, I'm attracted to him.
Okay.
I think white guys don't see me and they be like, yeah, she ghetto or something. Like, I think in their preconceived, like, I feel like white guys will see me and be like, yeah, no, she's too black.
Dude,
What about
Like,
you, Gala?
I'm not like your preppy white black kind of girl. Like, I'm not Hillary.
I do think white guys do
Yeah,
fetish
like
black
I
women a
am.
lot. Because I don't know what it is. Every single white dude who I've talked to about black women, they never go, I dated this girl. They go, yeah, I fucked a black chick.
They'll fuck
"Ew."
a black girl. They'll fuck a black girl real
every
quick.
single time. Every single time.
There are men like that too, yeah.
But as far as dating, I don't. Yeah, that's.
So that attitude that you just said is what I perceive from white guys.
That's
very
what I feel
early
too.
on.
Have you ever dated a white guy before?
I have not dated a white guy before. I've had a crush on a white guy before. in my
Like, due
childhood.
respect, like both of you two are attractive enough. This is when I say a black woman's really attractive. She can date white guys, right? No, seriously, Stacey Dash or she used Stacey now.
Well, she's a psycho.
She's the psycho.
She ain't a good example.
But she did date white guys. But she
Once upon a
she was
time.
absolutely crazy. Paula Patton. So if a Lori Harvey, and we'll talk about her a little bit later on. Lori Harvey is so attractive she could date a white guy. You two are attractive enough to date white guys. Is it that you don't find them attractive?
So I feel like this is my trauma. When I had this experience at summer camp, I really liked this white guy. And he liked me too. And we were a thing, quote unquote, as much of a thing as you can be at that age.
And this was high school, middle school?
No, it was like fourth grade, like
Right.
So I do have
So
have
his
an
trauma
adult
happened
trauma,
in the 8th grade. But listen to this, and I'll get
but
back
I
to
do
this.
have an adult trauma as
Okay.
well to follow.
I'm sorry, I was not in a good place at that time.
I wasn't there. I'm sorry.
So, we were kind of a thing for like half of the day, and then there was this Asian girl that came along, and everyone was like, "He likes her every year." Oh my God! I'm like, every year.
When the Asian woman
Oh
came.
my gosh!
Threaded Ling Ling.
So I was like,
So y'all
you know
got
what?
to worry about Becky
Yeah.
and Ling Ling?
Right. Okay.
And let's not forget our Spanish speaking people.
Becky,
okay?
Marisol, Mylene, and Jamila.
Oh my
we all know
competition
the
is
fast
real over here.
Wow.
okay?
What was your trauma with a white guy as an adult?
So,
Because I'm sure white guys look at you. They have to.
yeah, but well, I'm not gonna lie. It's only gonna be a certain type of white guy that's even gonna grab my attention.
See that?
Me
Most
too.
men
Me too.
are sexually invisible to most women.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's true.
Mine has to be like Superman.
I feel that way about
You
black
know.
guys.
He has to
Yeah.
with the Superman
So,
cape.
but
and
I
like,
feel like it gave me off what you said.
Did he talk to you like an art exhibit? Because my sister told me this, that the white guys, they talk to black women like art exhibits. They'll go, "You're so beautiful.
God.
I
No,
love your
right
hair."
there.
I see that in the club all the time.
And it's almost like kind of like,
I have
Whoa.
never
I'm a
heard
pride.
this before. Wait.
yeah.
Like an exhibit? Like describe that for
Like
me.
it was also yeah, like it was more so. I like the admiration. It's cool, but also there's a line, but between you kind of just want to have like a physical trophy kind of thing.
It's almost like the first time somebody sits in a Lamborghini. Oh my God, boy, look at this. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, gotcha.
and it
Or when
did.
someone's selling you something. Like when those salespeople walk up and they're like, "Hey, would you like to try da-da-da-da-da?" And you're like, "Damn, that sounds like a good deal, but this nigga is too pressed."
Well, that sounds
And
like
then
a
I will
guy.
say whenever I try to communicate, just about real life things, it felt like a big barrier. It felt like he just was not internalizing.
And how could he?
how
Right?
could
How
he?
could
could
he?
he?
And that's the thing, and that was my biggest issue. Like, I need to be able to communicate
Yeah.
these real life experiences that I'm having, and I need for someone to understand, reciprocate,
That is
and
interesting.
possibly.
and that's why I've never, like I said, I've been attracted to some. Like I've seen him, like, oh my God, he looks great. You know what I'm saying? He's clean. You know, like the kind of guy, white guy. I'm like you walk into like Express Men's and you see that poster, and you just look at
Abercrombie.
him like he looks great.
Yeah.
Like that's my white guy.
Gotcha.
I'd be like, yeah, you look good. You could be.
It's
you with
interesting.
me.
It's
But-
interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but again, like she said, it always becomes that barrier. Like I don't know where we would communicate at. You know what I'm saying? Again, I have cousins who are mixed. You know, we kind of communicate. But even with my mixed cousins, like my little cousin, she's mixed, and when we talk, and I'm talking to her, she's like, "Yeah, I don't ever fit in. I don't fit in with the white people. I don't fit in with the black people. Like I don't never really know where to be at." And I'm like, shoot, as a black woman, I don't fit in with white people. I go in, like I know enough to be in a corporate environment to where I can communicate. But if we were on like a one-on-one and we just had this talk, I wouldn't know what to say.
So your mixed cousins say they don't fit in with white people or black people. Yeah, welcome to my world. I'm too white to be black and too black to be white. Yeah,
And
I've been there.
one
Got
point,
that when you were saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I grew up, so I was in French immersion growing up, which means that half of my courses were taught to me in French.
Yeah.
A lot of black parents were not putting their kids in that program.
Wow.
So I grew up in a very white environment.
Okay.
And we got to a certain point in life where they all just were like, no, you know, just kind of turned their backs on us, a little small group of black kids.
Yeah.
And mind you, we grew up together. These aren't just kids we were in classes with, because we had to follow the certain program that went to these specific schools.
Right.
So from kindergarten on to 8th grade, we are at each other's birthday parties, sleepovers,
And
you
they
know,
turned on you?
turned completely, acted like we were just nothing, like, and that also left a bitter taste in my mouth, because when I'm seeing these white guys or even showing interest, you're treating me like yeah, like there's just this space that I cannot quite describe, and that's
It's interesting that you talk about the fact that you want to be able to identify. You want your man to be able to identify the black experience with you.
Yes.
I think that's one of the main differences between men and women, because I don't need that in a woman, and maybe it's because I've never really had that. But because men, were clearly visual creatures. I don't sit down with my fiance and talk about. Every once in a while, I'll joke around about the black experience. I'll make her uncomfortable. I'll say the word nigger, and she hates that. She absolutely hates it. Oh, dude, I absolutely love it. But I'm actually going to tell on her. So I came to, I forgot what city we were in, but we had gotten an Uber and we were on our way somewhere, and she had a few in her, and our Uber driver had these long dreads, and Dev was like, "Oh my God, can I touch your hair?"
No.
That's exactly what you did. She does not remember that. Yeah. She did it. The white girl treated
No
black women like an
touching
exhibit.
of the hair.
She did it. She says, "Can I touch her hair?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like,
This is why I quit drinking.
Cool girl. She was cool. She was real cool, because I'd have been like, "Did you just ask to touch my hair?"
That was
I'm
on
a dog.
This was on Thanksgiving Day.
Actually, yeah, I've literally had people just put their hands in my hair, and you'd be like, "Do I look
ridiculous.
like your pet to you? Like, did I ask to touch your hair?"
The one thing I will say though,
Period. Exactly. I don't take to me a touch. Period.
the one thing I will say, as far as what I have seen, when you see like a light-skinned black woman with like a very dark-skinned black man, typically her white side of the family shunned her, and the black side of the family took her in. And I'm telling you, it's so real, and you see it all the time. And the craziest fact that I know is, even since slavery, when white guys had babies with the slaves or black babies, they never took care of their young. And that's the craziest part of it, because that's never happened in history. Even people who, I mean, there's a dude with 7 kids who's running around and all that stuff. There's people who are deadbeat
How's the
dads.
hypocrites?
Yeah. But that,
Jesus Christ.
he takes care of his kids. But I'm saying,
I call him Nick Baby Cannon.
but the slave babies, they do not take care of them at all. They will have the baby with the slave. The baby will be another slave. And they will just sit the baby in there and not even claim it at all.
I will stand by this till the day I die. I believe that Nick Cannon could take a pregnancy test and it will show positive.
I agree.
That is how fertile that man is. He could piss a positive plus
Man, that boy.
Zoe, let me get your thoughts on. Oh, did you have something?
No, I mean, I was going back to your point. I was gonna say, I think that also speaks to like a broader point of dudes, like this whole infatuation thing. If a guy, like a white dude, were to come up to you and just be acting hella weird, I look at that as this particular guy just does not know how to talk to an attractive woman. Period.
That too. Yeah.
So I mean, I see that all the time with the people that I work with, and just out and about at the bars or whatever. But yeah, like dudes are very afraid, and when they're in that scenario, they tend to really put the girl on a pedestal, and in turn, it makes you feel very strange.
Yes, very
No, that, and I think that's for every race too. Because I've had black men who be like, and I'll be like, okay, you doing too much. Like it's not.
Like I've never seen it.
And also,
doing too much.
because if we're talking about a white dude and a black girl, he might be in his own head too. Like some of my clients will literally tell me this, like, I don't know, like if it's okay that I approach her. She might be very comfortable with the black dude.
Used to niggas with game.
Yeah, so like he's freaking himself out, and then in turn he's freaking you out, and so it's cyclical. And it just goes into circles.
Zoe, what are your thoughts on? Do you think that black men dating white women? Do you think it harms black women?
I don't really feel like I could speak on that because I'm a white woman, but I think, in Save the Last Dance, how I think we all know that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie. Like she got in the fight. Julia Stiles got in the fight with that girl Nikki who was hating on it, and then Chanel, her friend, told her, "Look, black women, this is a black woman thing. You don't get it. You're taking one of our best men." They were in high school in Chicago. There's probably not a lot of promising men there in that general area. White, black, whatever. And I think maybe that kind of I get exactly what she was saying. I get, even if it was beyond jealousy thing, because she had dated Derek previously or had a thing with him, I think I definitely understood where she was coming from. And have we all seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
She said, you need to just kind of be more aware. It was whatever. So I think I do understand that if a black woman were to feel that way. But I don't think it harms them as a whole by any means.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
The same way I don't think it does that to white women.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off that, just even when we were talking about Kevin Samuels,
Yeah.
one thing that he pointed out is an alarming stat that as a black woman, I feel like it would be alarming when they said that 1 out of every 4 black women will marry.
Yeah.
That's
astonishing.
If that's the case, then I think any woman that's not, as a black woman, any woman that's not black is a threat to her, because these are the women that's marrying the black men as opposed to her. Because if it's at a 25%, 1 out of every 4 people, Jesus, that's a lot. So at that sense, like, I don't think it's just white women that are threatening to them. I think it should be anybody that's not a black woman should be a threat to them, because, but then again, it also takes a lot of accountability, which is what Kevin Samuels talks about. And, it's really a lot of self-reflection, just like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not a favorable choice?
That is perfect. I'm gonna start with Chris with this next question. Conventional wisdom states it's very obvious that when black men reach a certain status, whether it's celebrity, fame, money, whatever the case may be, they tend to select non-black women as their mates, wives, girlfriends, etc., etc. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think this kind of touches on the previous question too. Perception is reality. So, if the perception is that black women are more aggressive, angry, what have you, even though that might not be the reality for the majority, they kind of just want to avoid the small chance that might occur, right? So even the dating app statistic as well.
Yeah.
So it's like the path of least resistance. So in my opinion, these guys are just gonna, go to the area where they might not encounter that aggressiveness, even though it might just be perception. So,
Zoe, what are your thoughts on that? Why do you think that black men, when they reach a certain level, money, status, fame, they tend to choose non-black women as their partners?
I think it comes down to they're thinking about their perception and what might look better on them or on their arm, or if they can get to a supermodel or something.
Well, Michael B. Jordan dated Lori Harvey, and people dogged him because they said he was too corny and cheesy and this and that and a third.
Clearly she saw something different, and that can very well be. Yeah. So I think it just, maybe they think, because that happens, to be honest, it happens a lot in Brookhaven and Buckhead. A lot of these successful black men do have a lot of white women on their arms, and I think they're maybe thinking more about their outward appearance and how it's going to come off, and just maybe that's just their preference too. So I think
that's what it is. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I think it's probably a combination of both of your answers. We'll get everybody's here. As far as what looks better on our arm, I think the black men in this room, we know what it feels like. Those of us who have dated interracially, we can feel the heat coming out of the eyes of black women, and sometimes even black men, when we stroll by with women who look like that, right? And so, but even still, the top men, despite what they say on social media, Jay Ellis has a white wife, DeMarco Murray, and on and on and on. So as far as like the perception is concerned, they're going to get more points from the black community for having a black wife or a black girlfriend, but they choose non-black anyway and still decide to take all the heat.
I think they also kind of choose it because they can.
Yeah.
But then look at Gucci Mane and I forget who he's married
The
to.
one
Look
thing
at
that
Travis. Wait, hold on. Look at
Sorry,
Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey, dude.
But
Travis Kelsey, he loves black
They're
women.
a beautiful couple, and he puts her on a pedestal, and things like that. So
I think there are beautiful black women out there. I think there's beautiful every woman. The thing that happens is, us men, we are like Baskin Robbins. We will try any fucking flavor. And the issue that happens sometimes, I think in our race with some of our women, is the expectation is very high, and it's like, well, I am not gonna have to blah 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 for a man. And these super duper top basketball players, these girls bid hard for those guys. I remember I saw a video with who was the guy that's, with the Kardashian, the big tall Kardashian.
Chloe.
Tristan Thompson.
Anyway,
Tristan
the one
Thompson.
that was cheating. The one that was cheating.
Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson. The one that was cheating. And I remember seeing.
The one that listen. Tristan
Alleged.
Thompson gets caught with an Instagram model every week.
Exactly.
Alleged.
And I
Don't give
remember
a
seeing
shit.
video,
Excuse
and it
my
wasn't
language.
as if he was going around begging these women or talking to them or approaching them or having game. He looked like he was just chilling, and these chicks were climbing him like George of the Jungle climbs a tree.
Because he's Tristan Thompson.
No, exactly. But what I'm saying is, those women put in hard bids, and I think sometimes in our community, a lot of our women don't put in hard bids.
In other words, what you're saying is that black women don't feel that they should have to compete for black men. Is that fair?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I would say.
What do you think?
So
I
not
agree
all.
with what you're saying, but picking back off what both of you have said, I think when a black man, like you said, they'll choose any flavor. Once they get to that high caliber or that high status, they have the money, they have all the flavors. Don't know Kevin Hart. Let's use him for an example. He is the shortest man that you ever see.
Yes, he is.
I will never.
Facts.
Because you know what I'm saying, I want a tall man. You know what I'm saying? There's women out there, I want a tall man, but
That
guess
nigga's
what?
worth
They will
$250
put
million.
that tall man status down to go mess with Kevin Hart because he has the fame, he has the money, he has the clout. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like it has. I feel like for those kind of men, because again, he was married to Tory Hart. She was with him when he was broke, working at Foot Locker. Divorced her and married another woman who was of lighter skin, of a different background, and not the same as a black woman. Still cheated on her.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It didn't matter that he wasn't with a black woman, or if he was with a white woman, or if he was with a Mexican or Asian woman. It didn't matter. He was going to do him anyways because
Any guy with a private
he
jet's gonna
has
cheat.
the options.
Man,
so I don't
as-
think it
as
even
faithful as his
matters.
options.
Yeah, I would say they have the option. Whereas, like you said, women, we have the option. We could walk out this room today and you it. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a man, he don't have that option. So Kevin Hart didn't have all those options until he hit that fame. He hit that fame. Now I got these options. I'm letting you go because now what I really wanted was right there, and I'm gonna take it.
Right. That's what
Yeah,
happens
both
to a
his
lot
wives
of
were good.
male
But I think
celebrities.
both his wives were bad. Black, light skin, whatever. I think that the guy was the biggest comedian in the world. And I think no matter what was going to happen, he was going to be with other women. I think he did it wrong, flying this girl in his private jet and taking her on vacations and all that stuff.
Before
But
I
I
go
think
to
any
what
guy
was
with
your
a
name
private
again?
jet does.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Tiger was a little. Yeah, that was
Reckless.
I'm gonna say Tiger a little different
Reckless.
though.
All those women, I'll never forget, were on the cover like that Us Weekly. All
yeah,
of them.
Rachel, you could tell. I'll put it to you like this. A lot of people like to say that if a man loves you, he will not cheat on you. That is incorrect.
That's lies.
If a man
Bull.
loves you, he will not allow you to find out.
That's
that
what I was
he
going
is
to say. You
cheating
better
on
keep that
you.
under wraps.
And
So bad at hiding
and so this goes to Tristan Thompson does not respect Khloe Kardashian, nor does he love her because he allows himself to get caught. What are your thoughts on the reason why, when black men reach a certain level, they choose non-black women as their partners?
I believe that when a black man gets it out the mud and he achieves like a high level of status, he does what he wants at that point.
Yeah.
And at that point, he looks at. I'll say like in terms of dating outside of black women, a lot of the like you said, perception is reality. So if the perception of black women is to do things that be combative, defensive, all of those things that are masculine traits, a man with options, the first thing he's going to choose is femininity. So, and not conditional femininity or conditional submission or anything of that, femininity. So quite naturally, if those other races are giving him that without everything that he experienced growing up in that like path to his level of success that he witnessed probably from black women. He probably got rejected when he was broke, and he was known as being dusty, being broke, being all of those things. Then when he finally achieves that status and he sees the same people that called him dusty trying to come to him like they want him now, he's like, yo, y'all the same people that was dogging me when I wasn't up. So
And that's probably why Gucci stayed so loyal, or some of these guys stay so
And
loyal.
I want to make it clear, it's not just black women with attitudes, just so we know.
But I'm
all
saying the
women
perception.
have attitudes. Now, how it's shown is different, because white women have attitudes too. Now, they may not show it with they will show it in a different way. Period. But so let's not. I just want to make it clear for the viewers and people who are listening. Black women are
White
not the
girls
only
do it too,
women
y'all.
with attitude. Black women, white women, Asian women, Mexican women, Hispanic women all have attitudes. Now, how it's perceived and how it's given off and how it's directed is different.
Who do you think has the highest percentage wise in terms of? I'll come back to you in a second. Who do you think has the highest percentage of women with attitude in terms of race, in your opinion?
I would say black and Hispanic.
Puerto Ricans.
Because I want to put all of them under the same.
Puerto Ricans.
Puerto Rican, because
yeah,
they're all
they're
different.
different.
I would say Puerto Rican,
Stab you.
They a little different.
With a knife.
They a little different.
been
They a little
stabbed
different.
Stab you out of love.
Fam, and mean that shit. I do this because I love you.
I love you.
You're like, I know. Jesus Christ. Go ahead and finish your thought.
But just to my point, like saying, like, you're absolutely right. You know, all races of women have attitudes and deal with that. But what's the perception? What's the majority? Exactly. And who embraces that attitude? You know, in a lot of black cultures, you hear about these city girls and all that other shit where that attitude is known as being cool.
Right.
But men don't gravitate toward that shit. Folks don't dig that. So at the same time, it's that perception that's really, you know, y'all really taking yourselves out the game by embracing that attitude. You know, it's going to be to a point where women are going to really have to be like, yo, I'm not like this. You know, the main point with black women is that when you talk about like real women that are looking for men out here and women that are just out here just being city girls, a lot of men can't tell the difference. So that being the case, we're just going to assume the latter. We're going to assume all women are like that until you prove otherwise. So until they do, or until they really divest from that within the culture and say, look, you know, that's a thought right there. I'm not them. You know, so until they do that amongst each other, then you're still going to get the same result from the one who's receiving the bad treatment.
Gayla, why do you think, now I'll actually flip the question, why do you think that when black men reach a certain status, why do you think they're not choosing black women as their mates, partners, husbands, etc.?
Well, look at these notes real quick.
Good. I saw you texting away. I was thinking she's got notes. This is good.
Well, so first I want to kind of touch on what you said. You said when they start to have those options, they're going to choose women where it's not conditional for them to be X, Y, Z. I want to say that if they have those options, that is the condition. I feel like even though it's perceived differently, that is a condition. Like if they choose someone of different ethnicity because of whatever, when they reach that status or wherever that is, that's the condition. You know what I mean? So I don't want it to feel like it's just, they're gonna do it because that's it. You know, if that man lost whatever status or whatever money he has, she'll be out. You know, it may not be bickering, it may not be an attitude. She may just literally pack up and be out.
Go fuck another nigga.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Then the other thing is, I agree with the appearance thing. I think because of that perception, some of them may feel like, and I didn't really even think about that until the men started speaking, but y'all are men, so y'all must know.
Yeah.
Some men feel like that's a certain appearance for them, and it makes them perceived differently to others. But I would like to say, personally, I feel like black women for black men a lot of times represent pain and trauma. And when they reach a certain level in life and are able to achieve these goals and pinnacles and comfortability in life and peace, even though money isn't everything or status isn't everything, it's a lot, and it gives you a comfort and it gives you a certain peace of mind. Now it's not may not be 100% peace of mind, but it's definitely a certain peace of mind. And I think because that they see black women representing something a little that's opposite, that's a struggle, that's reminding them of past and where they came from, they'll choose the other option.
Okay, we'll go Zoe and then Oma. Go ahead.
I was just going to add, I think you're very right about that, but I also do think, the status may be new to that person. It may be new success. It may be new
That makes sense.
things.
Yeah.
And they may think that that's what they want, but then at the end of the day, again, if something happens, the girl's out the door or whatever, and then it just comes down to you're like, wow, I want to be with somebody that really was going to hold it down for me. And and then I think you learn better, but it just takes time and it takes that experience to go through it to do.
And men, we're stubborn. It takes us, it takes
Absolutely.
us bumping our head again and again. And, oh, finally. And then we do it one more time to make sure.
Make sure, right?
Oma.
Well, I also think black women are very truthful, and that's a great thing to some degree. So, like you are saying, the bad attitude, all that kind of stuff. I think that certain other types of women are very good at masking things and not saying things and not whatever, right? And I think that sometimes with that hair trigger,
black women are unfiltered.
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm unfiltered.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you.
And with a guy that's at the upper echelon who can walk around and has all this money and can get any woman he wants, he would rather have the easier time, because at the end of the day, most of us dudes, we just want to chill. We want to get home, grab a beer, and watch Monday Night Football or Monday Night Raw or play Xbox or play Call of Duty, whatever we want to do, and chill. And that's typically it.
I'll put it to you like this, and then we'll go to Oma. The more money, clout, status, resources you have, the more filtered women become.
That is true.
That's
true.
how this is.
They don't want to lose that. Oh no, heck no.
Of course not. And
They don't have shit, I mean.
You see the sugar daddy?
It's not even that. It just makes sense. That's just good. Yeah, it just makes good business
I
sense.
mean-
I have no problem. I don't know why women, and actually this is going to be a question I ask later. Oma, why do you think that when black men reach a certain level, status, fame, they tend to choose non-black women as their mates?
It goes back to your last question. It starts in the home. You were talking about you were traumatized, and hence why you don't go after black women.
Yeah.
So, being an athlete growing up, I saw a lot of athletes that came from broken homes, mainly single mother homes. And these kids, if you grow up in a certain area, you're going to act a certain way. That's everybody.
Yeah.
So they see their mothers yelling, fussing, just beating the kids, whatever you want to call it. That's where they come from. This is what I think, when a man looks at a woman, they're going to think of their mother. That's what I would like to think. That's the first thing they're going to think of is their mother. And if they see, oh, well, she's combative, my mother. She doesn't care about what I think. She doesn't care what I'm going through. It's her way or the highway. What I also have a problem with women that women that are in a single mother home that are raising their kids.
Yeah.
They don't take the time to teach their kids how to just be a good human. They kick their kids to the curb. It's all about getting a paycheck, going to work. They're not being mothers to their kids. And that is where a lot of these athletes, I think, are coming from.
But to piggyback off what you were saying, a lot of those women don't have, like you said, they're in a single family household. They're in a broken home. So obviously that mom is not only having to take care of those kids as a caregiver, but she has to pay the bills. She has to go to work from whatever. She might be working 2 jobs. Who knows? So it's a lot of stress. So that does, and again, it's not an excuse, but a lot of those black women do take that anger out on their kids. I'm a mom, and I find myself sometimes I get so stressed and I yell at my daughter. I'm like, you know what? That was not for her. You know what I'm saying? I have to apologize. I'm sorry. That was not for you. I'm stressed out. And I explain, and that's something our parents didn't do to us, and their parents didn't do that. So we're in a different generation where, like, even now, I apologize to my daughter. She's 6. What am I? My mom would be like, "What am I apologizing to you for?" You know what I'm saying? Where I would in return would be like, "Listen, I'm sorry. I did not mean to yell at you. I'm having a stressful day. It's not you." You know what I'm saying? So she knows that she can't, as a young girl, she's not growing up feeling like, oh, I got to yell like my mom, or when I get stressed out, this is what I got to give. You know what I mean? So I think it's definitely, like you said, it starts in the home. And if you're coming from a broken family, as a mom, especially as a black woman, you're doing it by yourself. Half the time, my child's dad is not there. I'm doing it by myself.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's a very good point. So going back to that, men are different from women, okay? Men are, whether you want to believe it or not, it's fucking true. Men are different from women. A young man that grows up in a single mother household is going to grow up differently with a different mindset. He's going to be much more aggressive. He's going to be combative. Women, they're going to be the same thing. But women, they want to be a little more verbal. Women will say, hit me, and get that rise out of a man because they see other women doing it that are older than them. They don't have a father figure or a man figure to teach them, hey, you can't put your hands on people for no reason. Hey, if you want respect out of somebody, you have to give it to them. That's not being taught in households anymore. Single mother and a lot of homes with both their parents, because a lot of children are spoiled, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in. Yeah. All these women only want to go for these high value men. And going back to Kevin Hart, you're right. Kevin Hart did what he did, but Kevin Hart had to work really, really hard to get what he did. A lot of I'm not saying anything about these athletes because these athletes obviously had to work hard. They're athletes, but a man that had to work hard for what he has, if you're going to be a woman and come in there and tell him you can't do this because I don't want you to do it, I would kick your ass to the curb as well. You're not going to tell me after I worked as hard as I did, I'm taking care of you, I put my life on the line for any woman that I meet, especially one that I care about. I have the balls to put my life on the line for you, shut up. Stop. Don't be argumentative with me. Don't be combative with me. When we're out in public, just be a nice person. Set an example for our kids. Set an example for me.
But does that also mean that a woman's supposed to take anything? Because if you're saying that, then if you're saying, oh, don't be combative, don't be argumentative, is that supposed to mean a woman's supposed to accept anything a man brings to them regardless?
No, of course not. But this is where that trust comes into play. A woman, unfortunately, women's minds have been warped to almost respect toxic behavior more than actual genuine gentlemanly behavior. Yeah, it's Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna tell you this much too about and I hate to say this. This is gonna sound really bad, but I'll say this. And sometimes with the submission with black women in our community, I feel like a lot of times the submission only comes if the man shows a capacity to perform violence in some kind of way. I don't know what it is. It is just what I have seen in my life repeatedly, because I'm not saying y'all.
Violence towards them?
Yes.
Either way.
Period.
Either way.
Period.
I am just saying what I have seen. I'm just speaking from my experiences, anecdotal. That does not mean you guys. I am just saying from what I have seen. The stable, just decent guy, man, he gets walked all over. Even if he has a decent job, even if he has a good job, in our community, he gets walked all over. But I'm telling you, the dude with the dreads and the tattoos who shut up and all this yelling and smacking all this stuff, I'm telling that guy gets 100% submission.
I think that this is actually around the board. I don't think it's just with it could maybe it's higher, maybe the level is a little bit higher in the black community. I wouldn't know, but believe it or not, I'm a 4-time convicted felon of violent crimes. I've been arrested over 30 times. I've spent a total of 2.5 weeks of my life in jail, and I've spent over $500,000 on my defense. That's the only reason why I'm a free man today. Interestingly enough, when I show the capacity, when I bare my teeth, when I look at a girl, I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up or get the fuck out of my house, or I'm going to put you out. It is instantaneous. They go from tiger to kitten. It took me a while to sort of figure that out. I didn't want to have to become this person to get respect out of women. But you guys, women, you control access to sex. So if women, not saying you, but if women in the outside world are telling us, hey, we only respect you if you, how many times did Rihanna go back to Chris Brown? You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Despite someone's upbringing, despite the perception, do you find that maybe non-black girls are the ones that are pursuing you?
Yes.
So, okay.
Not.
So to go back to the original question.
Yeah.
Right, like, you find that. Yeah, like.
I often say I didn't choose white girls. White girls chose me, right? And it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's true. When you drive, like, I lived in Vegas for a while, had a really, really nice high rise, drove a really nice car, was making all this money. Yeah, women of all races come on to you for sure. So yeah, when you reach a certain status, you're going to get more attention from all women. And here's the thing, black men, most white girls are not into black guys. But if you've got tattoos, if you show a propensity for a little bit of violence, if you drive a nice car, all of a sudden they'll relax their standards, so to speak. So that's what I found.
I know a lot. I mean, I don't know about a lot, but some girls will ask me like, "Oh, do you not like black girls?" Or like, "I don't see you posting them on your Snapchat, Instagram, whatever." And I'm like, "No, I mean, I generally like who likes me."
Yeah.
So if someone were to actually, be like, "Hey, like, I would love it if we hung out or whatever," I'd be like, "Okay, cool." So despite whoever it is, but it just so happens that typically it's not black girls, right?
And this was imprinted my entire black girls weren't looking my way when I was a kid. They didn't look my way in middle school, high school. They damn sure didn't look my way in college. And so yeah, you kind of go where you're go where you're appreciated, not tolerated, things of that nature. Chelsea, why do you think that when black men reach a certain status, they choose non-black women to be their mates?
I think when men reach this certain level, they're basically given a set of keys that open doors that they never would have had access to. And I think the spirit of masculine energy is like pioneer. And I think they're like, what is in this store? What is in this store? Okay. And then like what you guys brought up about people who find you and seek you out, they're going to have a lot of different women, those 31 flavors. And I didn't grow up with a black experience, but I've heard it from a lot of my friends who've talked about their emotional struggles with that. I know colorism is a big deal. And like ever since we're little, our generation's like Disney movies and, that fairy tale kind of situation. I know a lot of guys and athletes may or may not be influenced by that and watching that, but a lot of women who are pursuing these men are like, oh, my Prince Charming, like he has so much influence, he's so beautiful, and I think a mix of like a perception, access, status, colorism, a lot of societal brainwashing. I think it all kind of combines. And I also think that from my experience as a white woman and just seeing like my mother, my grandmother, typically, I'm hoping to change this, but they don't really ask as many questions. They're kind of like, okay, whatever. They're like, whatever. Like you said, if you provide for me, if you provide what I want, then I'm not going to ask you questions. Sure. So you can do whatever you want. And I think some people, especially if you have had a traumatic experience and you need that, the word escapes me now, but if you need that attention, that, reassurance, and you're not getting it from a man who's out doing whatever, then that's going to cause some problems in your relationship that people want to avoid, I think, especially if you have a lot of ego and money.
Sure, of course. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna change gears here. I once heard that the two most racist groups of people in America are white men and black women. Do you agree?
Agree.
Do you agree or disagree? And why?
I will. I do agree to some degree, in that I know that
tell us without telling us, right?
Yeah, right. But also the world history, obviously the white man thing. Whoop de whoop de whoop. Right. Obviously. Okay. Let's keep going. But I will say, I don't think that black women are as racist in a certain sense of power, but I do think that. I do think a lot of times, as far as dating goes, most black women only want black men, which is cool. I think that's fine. But I also will say that a lot of black women don't respect black men as much as other men of other races. And that's just what I've seen. And it's not just romantically. I mean, workplace-wise and things of that nature, and how you treat them. Because when I've typically seen a black woman with a white man, there is none of that conditional submission, femininity, or any of that stuff.
It's credit score.
You can say it's credit, but I'm telling you.
But that's no. But that's real though. But listen. That's again, the more status, money, clout, the less filtered she is.
That is the condition.
Real quick. There is no such thing as unconditional love, y'all.
True.
Love is 1,000% conditional. I have no problem with a woman saying a condition for my love and devotion is you gotta make money. Now, is it realistic for her, depending on what she looks like, how old she is? Hey, that's not for me to judge. You can want what you want, but I have no problem with that. By the same token, women aren't going to tell me, well, you like blondes with big boobs and nice asses, right? And so you're some kind of no, that's just my preference. So whether you're a gold digger or you like, or you like attractive women, I think those are both conditions that are both necessary.
Agreed.
Do you think, do you agree with, well, let me ask you this. Do you think black women or white men are more racist?
Oh boy.
I'm putting you on the spot. Is the answer yes?
I'm about to say the answer is yes. We're both. I feel like black women and I feel like white men are racist. Like he said, as history has taught us, white men are racist. Like they put black people in slavery. History has showed us that. Black women, on the other hand, I feel like, and again, it's not all black women. I'm not gonna put everybody under an umbrella, but a lot of black women. I feel like we're very much. Let me not say racist. I want to say judgmental. We're very judgy. We're very judgy. Because I don't feel like it has to do anything with the race. Because you could be a black person, we still would sit there and judge you. So I think we're very judgy when it comes to like people's appearance. What is your job? What are you doing? What can you provide me? What can you do for me that I can't do for myself? Things like that. So I feel like with black women we become more judgmental than racist.
What you got, Oma?
Would you say instead of being more judgmental, more stereotypical?
There we go. That might have been a better word for me. Stereotype. Yeah.
Well, isn't there a stat that says that sadly, a lot of us black people are the most susceptible to media, and I think that lends a lot of these things, in that you do not see Mexican guys walking around sombreros and all that stuff. You don't see.
That'd be awesome, though, wouldn't it?
I would be with it, though. I would be with it.
But what's looked at in our society as great is, oh man, I want to look like 2 Chainz,
right?
Or I remember I watched the Grammys and the 3 black women on there. It was like Lizzo, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, and Jesus. Every single song they sang was about shaking their ass and showing their shit. And I was like, God damn. But what I'm saying is, I think that
I believe him.
Not for Lizzo.
I believe him. He was looking at the TV and said, God damn.
No. But what I'm saying is, the image that we have, that we represent, is something that we aspire to, sadly.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Okay. I'm gonna switch gears here again. I'm gonna give you a scenario. Right?
Him or me?
I'm gonna come to you next. Okay. Stay with me here. So, you meet a girl, right? Her name is, I don't know, Stephanie, right? Pretty, she's in shape, blah, 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 blah. You guys have been dating for a little while, nothing serious. And all of a sudden, she starts talking about her ex-boyfriend, right? No big deal. But then you found out her ex-boyfriend's name is DeMarcus. What are your thoughts at that point? Are you going to continue to date Stephanie if she dated DeMarcus?
I mean, my thoughts are that I won. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So,
there you go. Period.
She left DeMarcus. I mean, it depends to the extent that she was talking about DeMarcus or DeMarcus. It's DeMarcus guy. I don't know who he is, but yeah, like I mean, yeah, we're still cool. I'll still date her. Right. I mean, just like if she's talking my ear off about this and that about him.
I'm different. I am different from you. If I was interested in a white girl and I found out she had dated black guys, I'd leave her alone. Yeah, no, but that's just me.
Listen, I've been in plenty of scenarios where the girl was like, "Oh, I don't usually like white dudes. I don't like short guys." And then we meet and they're like, "Oh shit, okay, you're
pretty cool." Yeah.
And so that's my thought process. So it doesn't bother me.
Zoe, are white girls who have dated black guys considered tainted by white guys?
Wait, what?
Let's say you were dating a guy.
That don't even sound right.
Stay with me. Let's say you're dating a guy named Charlie, right? You guys are cool. You bring up your ex-boyfriend, LaMichael, right? And he kind of looks at you funny, right? What do you think white guys think about white girls who date black guys?
I actually deal with this quite often because the black man I was dating, I'm just going to make this short and nobody has to react to it, but I was fighting with my father on his deathbed about it. And the only reason that it doesn't bother me is because my father was my best friend, and I know that eventually he would have given the guy a chance. I didn't get to tell him about it. My stepmom ratted me out. It was a whole big thing. It was a whole mess, and they thought I was dating this other guy that I had posted with just from a wrestling show that was not the guy. My mom only told me that like a couple years ago when I had to set the record straight. But I know my dad and we didn't hold grudges, and he wouldn't have done that, and he would have been okay with it. He would have. I even told the guy that I dated previously, the black guy that I dated. I told him, I was like, he would have invited you over for dinner. He would have asked about your background, your intentions with me, and then probably after we left, he would have texted me and been like, I'm okay with it. So It is what it is. It was tough, but it's not something that I'm going to dwell on. But I do sometimes get nervous about telling potential new matches and dates and people that I'm talking to. I really do.
Why?
And because I do think that they may look at me in a different way. And I don't think it's fair by any means, but I could tell one of the guys, even because the way he kept bringing it up and kind of making jokes about it, I finally asked, I was like, do you have a problem with that? And of course he said no, but I could tell. Yeah. Otherwise, the other ones that I've talked to about it don't even flinch.
Oma, what do you think? So let's say you're dating a girl, and let's say she has a few ex-boyfriends. She's got a Tyrone, she's got a Jamario, she's got a DeMarcus. She dated two brothers, DeMarcus and LaMarcus. What are your... Now, she's dated white guys too, but she's dated her fair share of black guys. Does that change the way things go? Shamar.
The first issue that I would have is, why am I finding out about your previous boyfriends? That would be the very first issue that I had.
Okay.
Second, why are there so many different names that are being thrown at me? And
Fair
third
questions.
of all, why do these names have prefixes?
Right.
That tells me something, that you're going after a specific kind of guy. Not saying that all LaMarcuses and DeMarcuses and what. I have a friend named DeMarcus. He's a very nice guy, and he's actually white.
Justice for
But
Wait, I'm sorry. His name is DeMarcus, and he's white?
He's white, yes.
His name is DeMarcus, and he white.
You gotta
Try
be
having
kidding me.
try having an inherited phone number of a John Tavius.
His parents got to be black, not DeMarcus with a K.
DeMarkis.
I bet that dude.
They
I bet
can't
that dude
spell
had
either.
all
It's
the
not
game.
K-U-S. If it was K-U-S,
All right,
we had an issue.
but what are your thoughts? So you're going through all this in your mind. Does it change your perception of her, or
It definitely does.
Okay, very good.
In what way?
And why?
Okay.
Both of those.
Well, we all know what the answer is.
As a white man, I want to know why.
Because she's gonna look for something in me that I can't have, or I don't have. Excuse me.
Big dick.
No, it's.
I was gonna say it. Somebody said it.
I had to.
Somebody had to say
It
it.
has
I'm
nothing
just
to do with that.
I have been thinking it.
Not all black men have extremely large
That's
penises.
true.
That is
Now,
also
I wouldn't know anything about that, but I'm told that not all of them do.
They
But go ahead.
range. They range.
It's
I'm
just-
sorry. I had to.
It'd be different if it was just one name that was brought up, and I probably would ask.
Like a
about-
one-off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would ask what he's like. But if I'm getting all these names, then that right there just turns me off immediately.
Well, I would also say,
Well,
Hold
Let's
on.
just say-
Let me. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Let's just say that it's not a list of names in this scenario, and that she's just saying my ex. What? Even if it was like a black gentleman
D'Angelo.
with a different name, or something, and it was just one, and she says,
I got 'em all, y'all."
I love that restaurant. Me and D'Angelo used to go there.
But
Is
guys
that
don't
going
want
to
to hear
set
that.
you off?
Well, guys don't want to hear that part. I don't want to hear that you went on a date with. somebody
True.
else.
Yes, but
And
for
number
the sake
two,
of the conversation.
If his name was just brought up, I'd be like, who's D'Angelo? If you explain to me D'Angelo and you explain that he was a good man or a good person, I'd be okay with it. You dated a man that's a good man. I would care more about how he treated you, because if he gave you
Exactly.
shit and you started changing because of it, I get to deal with your bullshit. I'm not dealing with anybody else's bullshit.
Exactly.
Chelsea, let's say you're dating a guy. His name is Michael, right? Would you, if you had ever been in a relationship hooked up with a black guy, would you have concerns about maybe it coming out? Or him just finding out about it. I mean, and a lot of people, I read this one Reddit post. It was a white girl. She says, well, I've been dating this guy for a few months, and I let slip that I had a black ex-boyfriend. I'm like, wait a minute, let it slip. So what are your thoughts on that? Would you let it slip, or is it not that big a deal to you?
I'm sorry, that's just kind of funny terminology. Like, oops, I farted. I dated this guy. I let it slip.
Well, some girls sit on the toilet for a little while after that.
Well, I may be the wrong person to ask because I'm kind of like an open book, so I probably would be disqualified with a lot of people because I'm like, oh yeah, this happened and this happened, but I'm okay now. But
So you have dated black guys in the past?
yes. As far as like a new partner, I wouldn't be afraid of like letting it slip out or something like that, just because if I'm pursuing someone and I had any indication that would put me in a position to feel like that, I would probably not be with them if I thought that would be potentially.
Same.
Yeah.
I deal with it now,
vibes.
so.
Otherwise, I just let it out, and then his reaction would be surprising to me, I guess, at that point.
Wow, that is very interesting. Your thoughts. So why do you think? Why do you think? And I'll give my answer. But why do you think that it seems that white guys disqualify white women for having dated multiple black men?
Probably because, like you said, the sexual intercourse with the black man and a white woman, maybe a white man feels like he wouldn't be able to compete with a black man.
Okay.
As far as sexually.
The stereotypes.
Yeah, it is definitely the myth.
I would assume there'd be the stereotype. I mean, if I were a white man and someone came and said, yeah, I would date this black man, I'd be like, whoa, time out. Like, I need more information.
Yeah.
Like, what was going down in that relationship. But as a black woman,
It wouldn't turn you off.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. I mean, to my.
What can I ask? Would it turn you off if you were gonna give a white guy a chance that had only dated black girls? Does that make you feel weird?
Huh.
That would.
I gotta say that would make me feel.
That would make me feel weird, just because if he's only dated black, like he's never dated a white woman or any other race.
Well, maybe that's just what he likes.
That would make me feel. Well, I would have a lot of questions because and on top of that, I would need to meet that man's family. Because as a white man, yeah, you could date all the black women in the world, but are you doing that to spite your family? Because there's people who there's white girls and white guys who would do that to spite their family. So it's like, are you doing this to get back at your family, or do you or women really black women really your preference? If black women are really your preference, or is it their fetish? If it's black women are your preference, I prefer black.
Here's
women,
the thing. I'll let you know
I'm
something
okay
about
with it.
men. We're not like we don't date certain kinds of women because it'll piss one. No, we date certain kinds of women because we like them. Now, women on the other hand might be a little bit different, right? Like we all know about the Becky. This is they date the brothers to get back at dad. But I'll tell you, I'll give you guys a quick story. My fiance, she is 46 years old, right? And I remember when we first, yeah. She's fucking fly.
He's like, that's wild.
Yeah. Those boobs are bought and paid for by your boy. But when we first started talking, she said, "Oh yeah, my dad would love you." I said, "Oh, would he?" Now she said, "Yeah, he would." I was like, "The only reason why your dad would love me is because you're 39 and not 19." Because and I told her, I said, because if you were dating me at 19 years old, your father would definitely have a problem with it. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh yeah, he would have kicked me out of the house.
There you go. Yeah. There it is.
I think the whole preference conversation is very interesting because I think regardless of, so say you're like a black dude and you just dated white chicks in the past, I mean, and then you meet someone who's not a white chick, I mean, you'd feel a certain type of way. I feel like, oh, like I'm not your preference.
Sure.
So like to whoever it is, that I mean, even myself, if I met someone and they dated a certain type of dude before me, and there was like all that type of dude, I wouldn't feel great about it. I'm like, oh, I'm not your normal preference. So that's kind of, like
who's a black Hollywood star other than Kevin Hart who's kind of small, gangly, etc. Can you guys think of any? Exactly,
small and gangly,
guys. That is what perpetuates the stereotypes. Who?
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, but he's Lil Wayne.
Also
Ray J.
Millions of dollars.
Dude, Lil Wayne, he looks like a dollar bill.
Doesn't matter.
Lil Wayne's got so many tattoos, looks like a dollar
And he got all the baby mamas to go with it. It's fine.
Ray J.
I'm sorry. Like an ectomorph. Jesus. I don't know.
I mean, there's like Tom Cruise.
You know, skinny, long. You know, just not physically.
Wiz
Like
Khalifa,
if Kevin
I was about to
Hart
say
was
Wiz
walking
Khalifa.
on the
Oh,
street,
like
you wouldn't look twice. At
Yeah,
Kevin
like
Hart.
somebody who's malnourished, emaciated.
Oh.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. He is gangly. I'm gonna stop using that, and it's gonna be Pete
It's
Davidson.
Pete. Yeah, it's definitely
Pete Davidson
Pete.
is absolutely gangly.
And he got Kim. Let's just say that.
Pre-selection. That
There
dude
it is.
I'm telling you, Pete Davidson.
Pre-selections, yeah, it's a powerful thing. So speaking of preferences, I am good friends with Shake Chatterjee, and Zoe here says she does not like Shake. Why do you not like Shake?
I mean, I know that reality shows can twist things around. So I don't know if I don't know the guy. I mean, I guess you're gonna show him this clip, but but no, I just don't. I didn't like how in Love Is Blind, I think he used it as more of an opportunity to get further or to get recognized, or just I feel like there have been several couples on those shows that get married just to get married, or just to do it or whatever, and just to kind of get some status or some clout, because all the ones from season 2 was just a train wreck, and they all divorced.
They're
and it was
all train wrecks.
It was it was just nuts. But that was the worst one. But I didn't like. I mean, I guess like how I just felt like he was leading her on, and he didn't like Indian women, which I thought was it just came off. I know that you're okay with it. It just, to me, that came off as just kind of messed up.
Okay, so
I think it's weird.
No, this is interesting because Deepti said that she had only dated white guys, but nobody shamed her for only having dated white guys.
I don't even remember saying that.
She did. She says, my type are tall blondes. And Shake was like, oh, shit, I like tall blondes too. So I just think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting that men, when we have a preference, women tend to say, well, there's something messed up about it. But you can't really put a definition to it other than that it's messed up. Yet let a black woman say, well, I'll never date a black man. I don't have a problem with that. But nobody has a problem with it.
I think
except
both
when it goes the other way
it's
around.
wrong. Yeah,
I think it's wrong both ways.
I think it's wrong both ways.
Why do you think it's wrong?
It's like you're only seeing the outside. It's like you're going searching for just one thing.
What if I'm just attracted to that?
And you're generalizing everybody.
Hold on. What if I'm attracted to that?
I mean, if that is
what's the number one factor that men look at initially when evaluating a woman? It is what she looks like. Guys, listen, ladies.
I think it's shallow. That's just it.
It's fine.
What it is. It's going to happen, but I think it's shallow.
You know what?
Very much,
well, if you, hold on. Well, I don't. Well, it goes both ways. Yeah. We can call men shallow for having preferences. Like, hey,
would you date it? Would you date a dude shorter than you?
One mic at a time.
Have some money.
One mic at a time.
That's the $1 million question. No.
I did not hear that. I didn't hear the question.
He asked if I would date somebody shorter than me. I'm 5'11". Look, I have tried.
Doesn't work.
It just does not work. I was traumatized at my yeah, and I could be a bitch for that. That's fine. No, high school in a pageant, the stage lights went out, and I had the world's shortest escort, and I could hear people laughing. I've tried. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I have to have a tall man. I'll even go for eye to eye, but I can't.
I think he was trying to shoot a shot here. I think
that's giving discriminatory vibes.
He said you're discriminating.
There you go.
But like what he was saying.
No, hold on.
But
no. She shrugged her shoulders, and you're absolutely right.
I'm not saying.
Hold on. Let me finish. We have to discriminate. Discriminate is such a dirty word. We discriminate all the time. There's a difference between discriminating and being racist, right? And here's the thing. Slave owners were racist, but guess what? They were still banging those female slaves. So you can absolutely be racist and still prefer to date those kinds of women. The one is not mutually exclusive from the other.
Very much true.
I will say, I'm not saying that I couldn't be persuaded. If it did,
I love it.
I'm just saying, if I did really take, if I did really take to somebody and I'm sitting at a bar and all of a sudden he stands up and I'm like, oh shit. But if I'm already feeling some type of way, I'm gonna still pursue and I'll go on the date or whatever. Like,
I can't blame you for not wanting to date a guy shorter than you.
It's not that I haven't though. That's the difference too. It's not like, no, absolutely not. Don't even look at me.
And that's where my thing comes in. It's not that you're saying you're discriminating against him because you don't want to. You've never done it. You've done it before. You know that's what you don't like.
Right.
So that's where I say that there becomes the issue or there becomes a disconnect.
Just
It's
because
traumatized.
Well, hang on. Just because a man has a preference doesn't mean that whoever is not his preference that he had experience with that. Sometimes men develop a preference from an early age and decide, I will never date an Asian woman. I will never date a white woman. I will never date a Filipino woman. That's not racism. That's just a preference.
Again, with you saying that you never even gave those others chances of try.
Yeah, that's where it comes off as shallow.
Again, it's nothing against it. It's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to. You know, completely what you want to do is it's your life. Do what you want to do. But again, to say I would never do something, blah 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 blah. It's like, well, you've never tried it. That's like saying I'll never go vegan, but I never tried going vegan. So how can I say I'll never do it if I never tried it?
You know what? You're right. But sometimes you can use anecdotal and maybe empirical data in the stories of people around you. If you hear about a restaurant that you've never eaten at, 3 people you know got food poisoning, you're not going to want to go to eat at that restaurant. I don't want to eat at that restaurant. Well, why? Well, 3 people got food poisoning. Are you racist against that restaurant? If listen, we didn't all just come together and just decide to start shitting on women. The reason why this community was formed is because men started talking to each other and exchanging information and saying, hey, you know what? I had the same experience you did. I had a buddy who had an experience like you, and you, and you. And so as far as preference is concerned, if you're not a man's preference, it is what it is, because I'm perfectly fine with not being a woman's preference. And the reason why I'm perfectly fine with not being a woman's preference is because I know that there are a lot more women who want guys like me than there are guys like me. So if it's not going to be one, it's going to be somebody. Yeah.
I think it's just hard for some people to come to terms with that, and they can't help but just think, oh, that's racist, just because that's kind of how it's just perceived that way. That really, you know what I mean?
So here's what
they
happened.
don't want to do that deep digging, that self-awareness thing.
I don't think it has anything to do with deep diving. I just think it has to do with preference. Here's the thing, man. When Sharpe was all in, and I guess you watched the show. Sharpe was all in. The very first time he saw Deep, he said, oh, God, she's beautiful. He's grabbing her, or what was at least grabbing her ass and everything. Everything changed when she came out in a bathing suit. That's when he was like, I can't mess with this woman. So the fact that he rejected, he was all in as a part of the process, but her body was a hot mess, and he could not get his mind around that. Now, I can personally tell you, he did not go on Love Is Blind for the fame. You can believe that or not, it is what it is. And he really wanted to give it a shot, but he told Deep D the night before they got married, he said, I'm going to tell you no. He said, so have them ask you first. It's live on a podcast. I actually did it. I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. He said, Deeps, I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say no. He says, I'll fall on the sword. You can reject me. I'll take all the heat. He did all of that to protect her. And then
That's nice of him.
Well, it is. But then in the reunion show, she still dogged him. And she still dogged him, saying, oh, you just want the skinny blondes and da-da-da-da. Wait a minute, Deep D. You admitted that you dated only tall, blonde, white guys. Now all of a sudden you have a problem with Sharpe not having a preference for your body. And then she ended up having a relationship with Kyle, a white guy. So again, the way things are perceived, when men do it, there always seems to be something wrong, but it's always justified when women do it. When both genders are perfectly justified in what they're doing.
Exactly.
People are going to do what they want to do.
Exactly. It's a people thing. We all gonna do what we want to do.
Exactly.
Okay, last question of the day. Here, I'm going to start here. I'm going to give you 2 words, and I just want you to go. You ready?
Leave.
Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate.
Like full sentences?
Yeah, let's go.
I think Andrew Tate was a dude who
is.
I know, he's just in jail.
He may as well be dead, right?
In the black community, if you in jail, you done. No, he.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Right. He was a guy who I didn't agree with like every little fact that he said, but I do agree with the overall point of what he wanted or what he thought that men should be and what women want men. Let's be honest. To be strong, to try to make money, to be the best version of yourself. I think that he was good at doing that. I think that sometimes he said like some crazy stuff that I was kind of like,
I own 5 Bugattis.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah.
Because I'm masculinity.
Masculinity.
Yeah, he has a very weird,
You don't go kickboxing, you do a job. And I'm like,
tell me what to do? I'm a man.
I got fucked 5 whores.
I know Andrew
Y'all
Tate
doing
personally.
really good. I'm about to say y'all doing a really good
but
impression.
I thought his overall message to men was an inspiring message to give to men. Now, the legalities of like his business and stuff like that, I can't fully speak on because
You don't know.
I don't know, but I know I heard that he was in some shady stuff. But I think overall, his message to men was a good message.
Okay.
I don't really have a comment about Andrew Tate, honestly.
Let me ask you this: would you date Andrew Tate?
Probably not.
Why not?
The kind of guys I go for typically, I like a guy who's confident, but I don't like a guy who has too much ego. Like, I don't like a guy who's like, I don't know, like I like flashy, but I don't
I'm the
like
master of the universe.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's too much.
That's too, it's too overbearing. Like it's giving I control everything.
It's not attractive.
Yeah, it's giving like I don't know, and it's just
If that were so unattractive, why do bitches throw themselves at him?
that's why
They want one of those
they
Bugattis.
I'm about to say they like a lot of people would. Okay, let's just say this.
I don't think there's anything wrong
I
with it.
pulled up to a gas station before, and there's been guys who come. I play for the NBA, and I got these kind of cars. And da da da. That does not impress me. What you coming to me and running down what you got does not impress me.
Game tip, real quick, y'all. Guys, discovery trumps disclosure.
Facts.
Do not tell her you play for the Atlanta Hawks. Let her catch you on
Exactly.
TNT. Oh, shit.
Thank
This
you. Give him game.
Continue,
Give him game. 'Cause
continue.
It's overwhelming. So when a guy comes, like, so for him per se, like you said, he was giving guys game or whatever. That's for the guys. You know, I feel like a lot of this within the last couple of years, a lot of male podcasts have come out and really opened a lot of guys' eyes, and his was one of them. That opened up a lot of guys' eyes, and let them open up their minds to what they really want to say and how they really feel. So that part was cool. But as far as like him, and if I would date him, and if he was my kind of guy, it's a no.
Okay.
It's a no.
Would you date Andrew Tate?
I don't know the entirety of his messages. People would send me videos of him and clips, and I frankly wouldn't watch all of them.
He's a misogynist.
Right. I have heard the key words. Would I date him? Now that, we've talked about everything, I definitely wouldn't. But even before all the news and headlines, I probably wouldn't, just because of what has been aforementioned. Like, it's just too much, like, in your face, like a resume list of things. And I get that that's his personal brand, and wasn't he trying to sell like inspirational programs to men and stuff? So I get that.
So are you
that's
doubting
your
that
personal
Andrew
brand.
Tate is not who he is on and off camera?
Well, I know that with that, but
You know that he's not the same person on and off camera?
no. Well, I mean, I just mean like, because I haven't read all of his stuff. It's just from what people have sent me.
Okay.
So from the clips
Okay.
they've sent me, I'm like, I don't know him, but I don't know if he's this way all the time.
Yes, this is how. Yes, I
Yeah.
know him
Yeah.
personally. This
Well-
is exactly how he is. So, knowing that that's the way he is,
Well, I was going to say before or after, I still wouldn't either way, whether I knew or not. But that's just because of my type of men that I like.
okay, very
My
good.
preference.
So you want to die poor in a third world country? Fine.
Yes.
Andrew Tate.
First of all, I don't like what's going on with him.
100%.
I could talk about that later, on or off camera. That's fine. If it wasn't for a guy like Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate, who and by the way, there's 2 women locked up with him
Very
right
good.
now.
That's
If
right.
y'all didn't know that. There's 2
Yes,
women.
sir.
That's
See,
hilarious.
they didn't. Nobody knows this stuff. Nobody knows
There's
this stuff.
2. I'll tell you exactly. If you don't mind, may I tell them?
Please,
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
long story short, April 11th of last year, he got swatted in his house in Romania. Well, not in his house, but long story short, he used to run a
ATF
webcam.
SWAT. Yeah, jumped in. Yeah.
He used to run a webcam business. Without that, we wouldn't have things like OnlyFans. Anyways, you have dorks like Destiny coming out here saying that's manipulated. You cannot manipulate a definition to fit your narrative.
That's what
That is what
does.
that is. I'm not saying everyone is doing this, but that is what a lot of people are doing. This people will not do their own research nowadays. You two, did you know that there were 2 women that were locked up with him?
I do not know who
Did you
he
know that there were
is
2
at
women
all.
locked up with him?
I didn't, but I only found out about him after the sex trafficking scare thing until a friend of mine messaged me on Instagram and said, hey, that's not the real story. And I opened my ears and listened.
Did you also know that the WhatsApp messages between the girls who accused him of sex trafficking reveals that they colluded to lie on him. Did you know that was out?
They were gonna sell their
Hold
identity.
on. Did you know that they now have the security footage in and around the Tate compound, which shows the two girls who were being trafficked coming to and from the compound by themselves. Did you know that there is video of them inside of the Tate compound on the night in question, dancing, twerking very badly, I might add. Like if you're going to twerk, you gotta twerk. But they're dancing, having a good time, having a good time. And now the two girls, after Tate got swatted and put in jail in Romania, they were off to the French Riviera. That doesn't really sound like that behavior. I don't know because I wasn't there, but that behavior to me is not indicative of two women who were being sexually trafficked.
As to the reason why that I was saying earlier that we need to be careful about why we're saying what we got. You on camera talking about I got Bugattis and this, that, and the third. What do you think girls are going to do? They're going to target you. You're a target, a walking target.
Believe all women should not be a thing.
But it's
not like that. I'm not meaning it in that way. Sure. But when you're putting your resume out there, you're giving people a head of, okay, this is what they got.
Well, not
only
diamonds
on camera, you're gonna get robbed.
Here's the thing. Andrew Tate can't hide his 4-time kickboxing champions. He can't hide the Tate compound. The guy is he's probably worth almost $70 million now. I mean, it's not. I mean, and listen, some people have those preferences, but he's a guy who lives a flashy lifestyle, and certain types of girls like that kind of lifestyle. But unfortunately for them, it's only going to be temporary unless they have a cookbook.
The legal system shouldn't be. The legal system shouldn't be in a way to where it's just like, well, I'm just going to get scammed by these women. That just should not be the legal system. That just shouldn't be it.
If it wasn't for men like Andrew and Tristan Tate or Donovan Sharpe or Myron from Fresh and Fit and Fresh, if it wasn't for men like these around the world, there would be a lot of
more shootings.
There would be a lot more shootings. There would be a lot more self-deletions. If you don't know what that means, I'm sure you can read between the lines. They spoke up, just like Kevin Samuels did. They spoke up for the young men that were struggling. Every young man, if you really ask him what he wants to be, is a superhero. Andrew Tate and his brother were the closest thing to superheroes that most young men actually see in their lifetime. He's got the money, he's got the cars, he's got the girls. You can say he's a misogynist, if he is. Why does he have women all over him at all times? He walks around with options. They've vlogged bringing all their girlfriends together because they thought it would be funny, which it was, if you go back and watch it. They set an example, and the other thing that people don't know is if you actually go into their full context of the conversations, Andrew Tate is telling young men and women, be the best version of yourself. Right. He is telling, as a man, he is telling you to work hard, make money. He's telling you to get in shape, stop believing in depression. I love that. The quote that he says that sticks in my mind, he said it on Piers Morgan the second time.
Yep.
He said, I do not believe in something that takes power away from me. Why do we have freedom of speech when he can't he's only in jail because they don't like what he says? I truly believe that. I do believe he's innocent. I'm willing to put everything that I own on it to be on his side. So to wrap up my end of this, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, I genuinely think are good men that we need in this world.
They are affable. They're gregarious. Everyone that knows him, everyone that has ever worked for him, they love him. Because he's real. He's real and he's bountiful. He's not like he wants to spread the knowledge and spread the wealth. It's incredible what's happening to him.
And if I can also add on to this, ladies, his messages aren't just towards men. If you actually go and listen to his thing with Just Pearly, Auntie Jenny was also on there. I love Auntie Jenny.
Yep.
Brittany Renner, LOL. Sorry. Anyways, he goes on this show and he is telling these women, you have all the power. You choose what man you want to go on a date with. You choose what man you want to sleep with you. You choose what man you want to have a family with. I get it. There are some instances where that's not the case, but we're not talking about the case. We're talking about the generalization. We're being objective.
Of course.
We're being objective. He's telling women. Now, let me ask you this, ladies. A woman like Cardi B like Lizzo,
Megan Thee
who's
Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion, who's over-sexualizing every single thing that women do. Women are over-sexualized in this country and in the Western world in general. When you have a man who speaks against that, then that causes problems.
Yep.
We're trying to make women men. Ladies, I'm sorry, we're different. You can't be us. Okay? There's a reason that we have testosterone. There's a reason why we have more muscle mass. There's a reason why there's lots of things that we do that women don't. So going back to that, I strongly suggest all of you take a couple hours out of your day, listen to something of his in full context, and try and get the message that he is sending. The messages that they are sending are powerful, they're uplifting, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you, and you can ask my brother over there. I tried to... if it was, let's just say if it wasn't for Andrew Tate, me hearing him when I needed to hear him, I would not be here right now.
Wow.
I'm genuine, and I strongly stand by that. I will say that on camera, and I'm okay with that. I would not be here if it wasn't for men like Andrew Tate, like Tristan Tate, Fresh and Fit, Donovan Sharpe. Men need that.
Yeah.
That is why you need the man and the woman in the household.
Exactly.
You
Because you need both. You need both. And like we were saying earlier, you know, because again, I'm thankful for the Men podcast because first it was just women with their we gossip all the time anyways. We don't need the podcast to gossip. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that. I'll gossip with you on the phone like, girl, listen up. But men don't have that. You know what I'm saying? I'll ask my fiance like, hey, who do you talk to? Who do you vent to? Nobody. That's not healthy.
He's lying to you.
That
we
is
vent
not,
to.
I mean, again,
we vent to each other.
Y'all vent to each other, but again,
Not
as
like
far
women
as,
do.
but not like we do. Y'all don't let it all out. You're not going to. But when you have men like Andrew Tate, Donovan, when you guys have those podcasts that, and they're putting that opinion, they're putting their opinions out of there that are also something that you may be feeling. You're starting not feel alone. And a lot of men, I feel like they feel a lot alone because they don't feel like they can express that self, their true self. Yeah. Especially when it comes to a woman, they don't feel like they can express their true self because it makes them look weak. You know,
society.
There's a million.
reason for that.
I was gonna say there's a million magazines, Cosmo, and all this stuff for women. All these shows, yes, Steve Harvey and Oprah and all these shows. For men growing up, you know what we had?
The A-Team.
Our friends in porno movies.
Yep.
And that was it.
And WWE.
But yeah, we had WWE. But I'm talking about
real shit.
Real.
Don't sleep on the WWF. Hell no. WrestleMania.
NWO,
3,
WCW, all that stuff.
Y'all already know.
So Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate filled in that void that most men and lots of women nowadays don't have, and that is a father in the household. He taught men. He taught young men. He's teaching 13-year-olds up to ages of 50 how to be better men. He taught me how to be a better man just with his words. You can ask him. In 9 months, I turned my life around. I bought a home.
Awesome.
I bought a home.
Yeah, that's
Everything that these men are doing for me, I want to spread that message. I want to start with my neighbor. The family is broken in the States. It is.
Yep.
It starts in the family, and then it goes to, God, your family, and your neighbor. The family dynamic is broken, and they're taking away God from us. So I want you guys to think about this. And if you don't mind, I'm apologizing.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
talking a lot.
You're right.
Start with your neighbor. If you can respect the person next to you, I want you to think about that really hard. If you can change the life of the person sitting next to you, and you can better their life, they're going to look at the person next to them, and it's just going to start, and it's just going to extrapolate. It's just going to spiral. It's just going to go out and go out, and then we have to build that morality into each other. They're trying to take God away from us. Don't let them take God away from you. Yeah. Do not let them take away your morals. And that's another thing we're missing a lot of here in the West. Yeah. We're missing all of our morals. Yeah. It is so hard now to find someone that is truly down to just. I'll tell you a little something about me. I don't have a family. I don't. That's my family. We're not blood. He's black. I'm white. Obviously, my other brother.
Oh,
is
y'all
Asian.
aren't related?
You're not related. I thought y'all was brothers.
Oh, shit. But yeah, start with your neighbor. Have a little more sense of morality. Love one another and just be respectful. Be a good human. That was the message that he tried to get to all of us. He taught us do not allow something to take power away from you. I think that is one of the most powerful statements. And you could think about depression. I used to suffer from mental health. Ever since I heard his word and that one day, that it really changed my life. Ever since then, I have not had a single depressed day. I might get tired. I might not want to do something.
Right.
So what do? And you can ask him. I'll go into my living room and I'll blast Andrew Tate on my TV because he is speaking to me. He's speaking to all of us. He speaks to men and women, old and young. It doesn't matter who you are. Anything that can help better you as a person, you need to take it to heart.
I remember where you were.
She knows me. Another funny thing about this, back in August, I also had really bad health problems in 2018.
Yeah.
It's another reason why I can't wrestle anymore. I have lots of head trauma amongst other health issues I won't speak about on camera. But back in August, before I was cleared to go back to working out, not training, I'm not allowed to do contact anymore.
Wow.
I can't do. My head is too damaged, and man, it kind of makes me very emotional talking about this. He changed my life. Just work hard, be yourself. Don't let anybody change who you are. And if they're trying to change you, make sure that their intentions are good. Mm-hmm. Do not let anybody try and take advantage of you. I've been taken advantage of my entire life. I don't have a family to fall back on. My other best friend is Asian, so it's kind of a little diverse and whatnot. That tells you anything. That tells
Asians, baby.
That my other best friend's Asian. So yeah. So just love one another, love thy neighbor, and we got to start with our neighbor. I think that's my message. Start with your neighbor. Let's bring back that family element. Let's try and bring back the morality into the world, and that's what he was trying to do.
Well, Jesus, how do you follow up on that, huh? How do you follow that? All right. Yeah, I think that'll probably be the final word on Andrew Tate. So we're gonna round third and head for home. In the end, I think we can all agree that men and women are better together. I've lived a crazy life. My life's been crazy. It's been good. It's been terrible. I've slept with more women than I care to admit, because at some point it really just gets kind of disgusting. But as much fun as I had in Vegas, and trust me, it was a magic carpet ride. It really was. I probably don't remember half of it. As exciting as that was, my life is 10 times better now that I have one woman instead of 12. And I've never had a dozen women before.
So you say.
Anybody who says they have a rotation of 10 women, dude, he's talking about him and his buddies. It's sleeping with 2 girls at a time, that is fucking hard. And dude, I got a black belt in bitches, and it's still hard. It's still hard. So never believe anybody who says that. But in the end, it's interesting because I learned something from Kayla and Gayla today. What it really comes down to, I think my preference for white women or non-black women, it started when I was a kid. And it's funny, I've never really thought of it this way, but my mother and father, they were both virgins when they got married. Virgin bride, virgin groom. Dad went off to the military. Yeah, he went off to the military. Mom had 5 kids. My dad's a lot like me in many ways, unfortunately. The only difference is probably really our game level. My dad didn't have any experience with women. How could he? He was 18 years old, the military, blah 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 blah. So my mother ended up blowing up our family. She had an affair with another guy who ended up being a crackhead, and she ended up going to Detroit with him, abandoning us with our incapable father while she pursued him. And so I think something that happened in my head that I wasn't aware of at the time was that I saw myself in my father, and I loved my mom, but my mother rejected my father, who is much like me, for a hood nigga. Yeah. And I said to myself, that is never fucking going to be me, ever. Yeah. Now, on the flip side, there are white girls who will leave their husbands for a hood nigga. Let's not get that out of the way. But I decided at a very young age that I was not going to be that. And here's one more thing, and I think this explains why interracial dating happens to some degree. There are many factors, but the first love a man ever has is his mother. The first love a little girl ever has is her father. When a black boy, and see, no one has to teach men or women to respect or identify masculinity and femininity. We know it when we see it. Just like no one tells us No one tells us how to lie. Alex, did you take a cookie from the cookie jar? I don't want to get in trouble. No. Nobody had to say, okay, Alex, when your mom comes around the corner and asks you, you have to, no. I already knew how to lie. So we know we are born with an inherent understanding of the difference between right and wrong, masculinity and femininity. Well, when a little boy a black boy is raised by his mother and she's acting like what you think as a mother, you're like, something's not quite right, but hey, she's a woman, it is what it is. And then you experience femininity for the very first time, and it comes from a white girl. That makes a very strong impression. You understand? And this is the same with white girls who date black guys. A lot of white girls who date black guys, it's because she spent years watching her white father get disrespected, talked down to by her white mother. And she didn't say, well, I'm only going to go after black guys. What she needs is a man with backbone, a man with masculinity. And if the first man that ever shows her backbone and masculinity, if he happens to be black, she's out the door. I don't want to call it fortunate or unfortunate, but the first girl who ever showed me femininity, her name was Martha Romero. She was I think she was Mexican or Guatemalan, but it makes a very, very big difference. So black mothers out there, if you don't want your black sons dating white girls, be feminine. Fathers, if you don't want your white daughters to date guys like me, be a man. That's what it comes down to. So I think that explains a lot. What has to do with my preference is that I saw that my mother left a man like me for a man like him, a man like not me. Final thoughts on interracial dating, the podcast, Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate, whatever you want to.
Yeah, I think everyone, men and women are better together. I think black people, I think we should come together. I think as a whole, everything's gotten all screwed up. I think that a lot of our women are raised to be masculine, and a lot of dudes are either raised to be feminine or psychopaths on the street. But then you got the average guy in the middle. And I think a lot of women in our community maybe give those average guys a chance. And R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. He was a good guy.
Okay, very good.
My final thoughts, I would say when it comes to interracial dating, just, we all have our preferences, but just kind of open your mind a little bit more, see what else is out there in the world. You never really know what you might like if you don't get a dose of it. So don't just cancel anybody out just for the sake of this is what I prefer, unless you've already been there, done that. And I will say, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. He was a great guy. I feel like, men and women, we all need to continue having these conversations. So as women, we learned a lot as well. I feel like if we continue having those conversations, we as women could better ourselves as women to be those caregivers and those feminine women for those men who are looking for it. And same thing, men. If you're listening to women, you'll hear exactly what they're wanting, and you can provide that in a better way.
Okay, very good, Chelsea.
I think it's important just to have support, understanding of your partner's trauma, because that sets the stage for their life more so than either one of you probably understands. Like, you just blew my mind right now, because my dad's like a good dude, hard worker, but my mom would always just chihuahua him, and I have never dated a guy that's like my dad, and I always thought that was funny. I'm like, because they always say like girls date like your dad, but like I'd never felt that way. And now
but the reason why is because you know what masculinity is. You did not see that in your father, and so you sought it elsewhere. That's what happens.
Understanding and learning is important.
Okay, good stuff. Oh boy. Whiplash. Funny story real quick. This reminds me of the story. So I'm good friends with Ed Lattimore. And me, Ed, and Devin, we all went to Fogo de Chao for lunch one day.
What is this, Embarrass Me Day?
Yes, it is. And she's wearing something much like it is now. Now, Devin... Here's the thing. Devin, even when she drives, not very good reaction time. Like, I could just kind of notice she's very laid back. I'm not trying to say she's slow, but she's not the fleetest.
How many accidents have we been in when of me driving?
Anyway, on this particular day, she had cat-like reflexes. Ooh. It went. I was like, whoa, what the hell? She caught it. I was like, did nipple show? She said, nope, got up, went to the bathroom, and came back. So that's what reminded me of that.
When it involves wardrobe malfunction, we're on it.
Oh, yeah. It was unbelievable. Yes.
As a dancer, a wrestler, that's my biggest fear.
And look, I was like, wait, what happened? Oma, final thoughts.
I'm happy to be here. I learned a lot from all of you, and I hoped I was able to help. I came here to learn and also try and help everyone next to me. Just be good to your neighbor, work hard, make money, get in the gym. Ladies, do not let any man take advantage of you in a sense that he's going to find the signs, see if he's a good man. Submit to a man that you truly believe is gonna put his life on the line for you. And men, if you're too worried about trying to find a lady, there's a lot more things that you need to worry about than just getting a woman. Me, I don't care about finding a woman. I mean, I'm not gonna, if the opportunity came,
sure. I'll take it.
But I'm nowhere near where I want to be. My goal is to be top 1%. Easier said than done, but I'm just gonna work hard and do my best. And thank you again for everybody here. Free the Tates.
Absolutely.
Free the Tates. And yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, very good. Caleb.
As far as interracial dating goes, you like what you like, you want what you want.
You need to give a white boy a chance because I think you could date a white guy if you wanted to.
Definitely.
Okay.
I mean, listen, there is nothing wrong with Wellington and Thaddeus.
Oh God.
Or Pennington. Yes. The reason I know. Well, never mind. Go ahead. Yes. See, she knows.
I don't find anything wrong with white
Field.
men. I just feel a barrier when it comes to communication at times. That's all. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I think you like what you like. You want what you want. At the end of the day, I just would like for everyone to keep in mind, especially specifically talking about a black partner with any other race at all. We still need you in the community. You could still be a big brother, a big sister, do an outreach program, because at the end of the day, whether you reach a different status quo, whether you reach a different comfortability in your life and you choose to explore other options, that's fine. But remember home base. Like, we still need you at home. We still need our men to grow into men. And we need help in the family, in the household, So that's my main thing about interracial dating. Don't just leave your culture, your community alone and just say, oh, to the wind with them. Like, you're still needed and you're still wanted.
I think this is the first. You are the first black woman I think I have ever heard in my life say, "We need you."
Yes.
Yeah. We still need y'all to. We still got black kids at home.
Yes,
we still
do.
Kids at home that still need y'all. So you still need it for sure.
But Jamario wants to holler. You going?
Me and Jamario have a conversation, okay?
I mean,
he's at home with his mama. We got a problem.
Hey, Jamario said he's getting out of his mom's house.
I would like to say,
what's up?
I would like to say, when I met my fiance, we were both homeless, sleeping. Yeah, I was sleeping in my car. He was sleeping at a friend's house.
How the hell were you sleeping in your car looking like that?
Because I'm not a materialistic person, and I will not have a man come to me and say, let me just, because at the end of the day, that sounds nice, but if I'm not comfortable in that situation, I'm gonna still be homeless because I'm leaving. If I'm not feeling something in the situation, it's still not gonna work.
Okay.
I value my comfort and peace of mind more than anything. So, like, I'm comfortable in my car. I'm getting up in the mornings, washing up at Walmart for auditions and gigs. You know what I'm saying? The struggle was real, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. So,
and both of you are engaged.
Yes.
I don't remember them saying that first round.
Mm-hmm. He proposed to me on the Steve Harvey show, actually.
Yeah.
So held my dude down through it all. Okay, we could have been broke up, but we've been through it all, like holding it down and no attitude. What are y'all talking about?
That's why you guys are both engaged.
So can we? I know this. I'm just gonna say this.
Do have an attitude.
Can we get y'all to? We're gonna ask you ladies to help set examples for the younger generation ahead of us. Just try and instill that in the younger generation, especially young ladies. But we also got to teach
city
young men
girl
to be men.
lifestyle.
So,
Thank y'all. Hold it down.
Good job.
Yeah, we need
building
cookbooks.
communities.
we need cookbooks.
I cook too. I cook and I clean. What are you talking about? And I raise my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect, and a lot that was said today, I see it myself, but also I know I've done my self-reflection and I know a lot of where that comes from. And so when it occurs, I try and stop myself in that moment and check myself and realize that my king also has trauma. Like, let me just express what I'm feeling right now so that we can be in this moment together and understand one another. That is the biggest thing for me that I feel like I have been missing, because I've always expressed myself through dance and poetry and stuff like that, and acting. So with actually sitting down and breaking down my emotions and verbalizing them in a very calm, very generic, this is what it is, that was new to me.
Sure.
I couldn't just go dance in front of them and be like, this is how I'm feeling, you know? So, yeah. So,
Honey, how was work today? Oh, man, let me get into this.
Yeah.
Man, and then this shit happened, and then, oh my God, yeah.
It definitely takes accountability. Definitely.
That, what she just described, is called self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
That's exactly right.
As far as interracial dating, I just tell anybody, you know, just go like who likes you. You know, just like I said, just with God, He puts people in your life. You know, He doesn't necessarily put them there because of what they look like or things of that nature, but how they affect you. You know, so just go with who likes you. Search for love. Necessarily doesn't even have to be a color, but if it's somebody, it is the same. Cool, but if not, go with who likes you and who loves you. You know, and you know all of that. And just from everything that was talked about today, I just thought was absolutely awesome. I definitely learned a lot just from you know the different perspectives of
for sure.
everybody, because we're all living in this life. You know, we're all dealing with this, and we're all receiving it in different ways.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and just to be able to take things from like Kevin Samuels, like Myron and Fresh with Fresh and Fit, Donovan Sharpe. I learned a lot from you, bro. You know, in addition to also like Andrew Tate. Top G, you know, Frida Tate's, like, but it just, all of these things that just make you the best version of you, you know, and that's what you do. You know, like you said, you don't search for a person, you search within yourself, and you become the best version of yourself, and people will gravitate towards you, and then you choose. You go with what you want to do after that.
As long as they're blonde with big boobs, I'm all for it.
But, yeah, and then, like you said, just loving your neighbor, man. Just like, you know, like a famous line I read from, you know, familiar with Outkast. Big Boy, he says, if you want to change the nation, start on your corner. You know, that's real.
Okay.
And so that's what you do. You just love the people around you and affect those people, and just pay, and they will pay it forward. You know,
Shout out ATLians, the greatest rap album of the 90s.
Facts.
But Decatur, hashtag Decatur song.
But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, hashtag elevators. Remix.
As far as today, I think it was really informative. I'm super glad that I came. I didn't know what to expect, and no offense, I didn't know who you were, but I'm glad I do now. I'm glad I do now, and I definitely have a different perspective about certain things, but feel more comfortable in my thoughts about it. And again, you know, going back to self-awareness, I stated from the first sentence here, that's a lot of what I've done in recent years, especially since losing my dad. It'll be 5 years in August. I learned a lot about myself and a lot about how I come off, how I'm perceived, and just making the right kind of changes and just working hard overall. So I didn't know anything about Andrew Tate or who he was up until
A lot of people don't.
the
That's the
sex
problem.
the sex trafficking thing,
Yes.
and it's just been bad PR. So I mean, a little, you know, outlandish and ridiculous things are said, and I probably wouldn't date the guy either, but based on what you said, I'm gonna check him out, and I'm gonna open my ears.
I can send you recommendations. if
and
you'd like.
listen. Yeah, and
I'll tell you
And
that.
also, well, you said Chris Brown earlier, correct? Yeah. One of his lawyers is Tina Galandian, Chris Brown's lawyer.
He's got more money than God, so I'm sure he can
But
afford.
but hold on. What they're not telling you is he's hired almost 20 lawyers now.
Jesus, I didn't know that. I thought
I'm pretty sure he's. I'm pretty sure
we were on the phone.
I'm pretty sure that he's got. Now, mind you,
Jesus, 20.
he's got They got lawyers at the yin yang trying to get these guys out of jail.
Yeah.
They're trying to get themselves out. They won't even put them on house arrest. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. That is not the case right now. They have no evidence against him. This is in They have, but well, no.
The only
They
evidence
have
they have
evidence.
is the word of a woman. That's it.
They're hiring all these lawyers, and they decided to bring in Tina Galandian, and she doesn't even have access to her clients.
It's incredible.
When you speak to your lawyer, you're supposed to have client attorney privilege. They're listening on their phone calls.
Wow.
She
The
came
fix
out.
is in.
She came out in public and said that. She came out.
I did not know that they had hired her. Dude, there were 3 or 4 attorneys on that call. I didn't know they had 20.
Well, I could be wrong about. I'm pretty sure I read it was 15. I could be wrong. That might. But they brought in a lot of lawyers at the last hearing they had. it's just guys. They're going through hell right now. They're being tortured. And also he's Muslim. He recently converted to Islam.
Yeah. And the Romanians have a history.
Yeah, and he's spending his first Ramadan in a prison eating cold food after he's got to fast. He's not allowed to eat. They don't. You're fasting. So instead of them just being a little bit more respectful of him and saying, "Hey, we'll give you some hot food when the time comes that you're allowed to eat," they give him food and it's got to sit there. He's putting out tweets. Those aren't obviously him. Somebody else is doing that.
Sure. Yeah.
But he's giving kind of insight on what they're going through. Yep. Tristan put out on Twitter, obviously it's not him, but he said Andrew
they have people on the outside who have control.
Andrew has not been allowed a single visitor since he has been locked up.
They're trying to break him.
And they can legally hold him up to 180 days. Legally. But I think that's just part of the torture, guys. This is bigger than what you think it is.
Yeah,
this is much bigger.
Yeah, and the reason why we know it's big is because of what's happening to them. Because when they get out, and they're going to be the biggest rock stars ever.
May I plug in something if you don't mind?
Yeah.
April 11th. I don't know if anybody heard about this. I'm leading the peaceful protest in Miami. We have some of Tate's team in London. So we have a rally in London, England, on April 11th. They're like 4 or 5, 6 hours ahead of us. And then Miami, I'm working with a gentleman. His name is Will on Twitter. He goes by Conservative Muslim. He's the one that helped put this all together. I took initiative into bringing it to Miami. If you guys want to support the cause, just spread the word. We want to get as many people in Miami as possible. And then from Miami, I'm going to D.C. with Will. And we're going to march we're going to march in front of the White House. And we're going to do this for these brothers. These brothers did a lot more for me than I can say. And I didn't want to talk too much because I developed a stutter, so my stutter starts kicking when I get a little emotional when I speak.
Jesus, I couldn't tell.
I try to cut myself off before I talk a little too much. But this is bigger than all of us. This is the future of our children. I want kids. I don't know about any of y'all. I want kids. I want to have a woman that would love to have a family with me. I didn't have a family. I want my own family. So I'm looking towards the generations ahead. This is bigger than anything going on right now, in my personal opinion. This is a violation of human rights. No man has gotten as big as they did, as quickly as they did. And he did it by speaking uncomfortable truths. And whether you want to admit it or not, most of the stuff he says, I truly believe all the stuff he says is true. In a sense that, you can think of it in a different way. Like, for instance, a man can have multiple wives. But going back to the Kevin Hart thing, Kevin Hart had to work for that. He can't just say, let's say I was a bum like I was 9 months ago. I can't just walk into the club and say, hey, you're my lady. I can't do that. I got to put off the appearance. Women fall in love with what they hear. I got to convince her that I'm the right man that she wants to even talk to. I got to keep her attention. I probably got to buy her a couple drinks. So then I got to have money to be able to even just hold her attention. It all adds up. Okay? So as a man, focus on your money. Focus on getting in the gym. MLD.
Money muscles game for him.
Money muscle. Yep. So get that. And ladies, just we need good women.
Friendly, faithful.
Yeah, we need good women.
There you go.
And I see 4 good women here, and you two really. I loved listening to you two speak. I learned a lot from you two.
Yeah.
We need more women like you in the world. We need more women like Dev. We need good Zoe, Chelsea. We need you to speak up and try and inspire the younger generation of women to be better women.
Yeah.
And the world's all fucked up now.
Yeah.
It is. We need to change it. I think we can change it.
I mean, I'd like to, yeah.
I'd like to think
it's
that.
just gone so far gone. The media is the root of all evil, and I could spend hours, but I'm just gonna wrap it up because I'm sorry, I gotta.
We're here. You're good. We're here talking about it, so thank you.
But yeah, and as far as just my wrap up with interracial dating, obviously it's something that I have participated in. I'm not opposed to in the future. I thought that maybe that would be the only black man that I dated, but I was attracted.
But once you go black,
that's what I know, right? Exactly. But no, I think it really opened my eyes to a lot, and especially to racism that I'd never experienced on a certain level. It's just nuts, just from the attitudes of my own family and just My friends were okay with it, and everybody's like, it's 2019. Who cares at the time? So I have learned a lot, and I don't feel as guilty or anything about it, and I don't think I should be made to either. I don't think any of us should be made to feel guilty for what we're into or what we like. So I do agree with you on that, and yeah, that's me. I'm gonna keep being me.
So would you give Jamario a chance?
I don't know who the hell that is.
Mario's still at home with his mama, okay?
Jamario is in a situationship with...
I don't like baby mama drama.
Okay, all right, just checking. I had to ask.
And basement dwellers.
All right, had to ask. Chris.
But yes. Follow me on Instagram.
Yes, plug your Instagrams. Yes.
part.
By the way, I'm going to get all
okay.
your social media links when I post all these. They'll all be in there.
I am a professional wrestler, so if you're into that, follow me. It's Zoe, ZOE_W101, like the show.
I've never met a female professional wrestler. That is very cool.
It's a tough act to follow here.
Yeah, right? Jesus.
Listen, I had a great time. Appreciate the opportunity.
Of course.
Wildly entertaining. Same thing for Andrew's stuff. It's just so entertaining, and I think it's important that people show some discernment in terms of like, all right, you got to understand a lot of times in the way things are delivered, like it's comedy. You got to read between the lines, gather the overall message, and take that away. Right. And the overall message from most of from Donovan's stuff for sure, and for a lot of the other guys, is men becoming better.
That's it.
Putting their best foot forward. That's what I teach. That's what they all teach. And a lot of the times, that unfortunately means that girls get put on the back burner. And that's just the way it is. And a lot of times, because of that, there's a backlash. But it is what it is, man. Sacrifices and such. So, again, yeah, great time. And it was great meeting you guys.
Okay, well, that is going to do it for episode 13 of the #HowToRelationship podcast. We will see you in Minneapolis next week. Take care.